want the whole truth and nothing but the...
What's going on, guys? This is your boy Dontae with Dontae's Box. What's going on, guys? This is your boy Dontae with Dontae's Boxer Nation. And let me tell you something right now. If you guys are looking for the best fragrance products in the world, you need to go to ashkicking.com. That is ashkicking.com. Keep your home smelling fresh and clean with Ash Kicking fragrance products. Treat your skin and hair with Ash Kicking all-natural health and beauty products. Everything you need to create a comfortable home living environment and create a comfortable space for entertaining. The best incense burners in the world, home fragrance products, and health and beauty products, go to ashkicking.com. That is ASHKICKIN.com.
Brothers and sisters, I don't know what this world is coming to.
Hey, yo, check this out. This is Flavor Flav, and if you want the whole truth and nothing but the whole truth, so help the whole truth. Hey, yo, you better listen to Dontae, baby. Dontae!
What's going on? Welcome to another great edition of the Dontae's Boxing Nation show. It's about to go down like a plane crash, man. We got a hell of a show for you guys, as always. We got a real special guest on the phone as well. But first things first, let me go ahead and introduce the panel, as we always do at this time. In the studio, I got my co-host, Mr. Big Milton, in the building. What's going on, Milt?
Not much, baby. What's good, Dontae's Boxing Nation?
All day, all day. And of course, man, we got the panel, as always. My man Kirk Jackson, who's a former fighter, and he's a boxing writer for BoxingInsider.com. Check him out. I got my girl, Miss Boxing Baby, back in the building. She gonna have a lot to say about what took place this weekend, no doubt about it. And I got one of the best middleweights, man, top contenders in the world, my man Willie Monroe. What's going on, Willie?
What's up, man? How y'all doing?
All right,
good.
man.
What's good?
All right. Welcome to the show, y'all. We about to get it in. Like I said, we got a whole lot to talk about. Now, since I got my man Milton and I got my man Willie Monroe, I should say, on the line, I want to start with you. Now, you've been in the ring with this man, Gennady Golovkin, Willie Monroe, and, you know, I believe outside of Kasim Uma, because a lot of people didn't get to catch the Kasim Uma fight because it wasn't telecast out here in the States, a lot of people feel you were kind of the first person to almost give a blueprint on how you need to fight Gennady Golovkin. How did you rate Danny Jacobs' performance this past weekend, and who you thought won the fight?
I think it was a great performance. You know what I mean? You can even say it was a masterful performance. You know, I did an interview with a couple other people, and they asked me, how do I think Danny Jacobs should fight Golovkin? And I said, you got a smart fighter. Not boxing, not smart boxing, not brawl, not smart, but you got a smart fighter. And what I meant by smart fighting is you have to fight him, but you have to be intelligent at the same time while doing it. You got to know when to brawl, when to move and box. And I don't think Danny missed a beat last night. I thought Danny won.
You thought Danny won? I mean, not breaking it down round by round, but if you could give me a ballpark, how many rounds you think he won by? How close do you think it was?
I mean, I had an 8-4. You know, you could say 7-5, you know, because of the knockdown and everything. But I mean, I had an 8-4. I mean, he was landing a lot more. I mean, he was controlling Golovkin. I mean, he was catching him with big shots. He was, you know, he was landing bigger, you know, before the clinch, and then he would fight out of the clinch. He would, you know, get the better of the exchanges on the clinches. I mean, if they attribute it to, you know, the jabs that Golovkin was, you know, landing or barely landing to get closer, Jacob. I mean, you know, I thought this was a fight not just based on one type of punch, but personally, I thought Jacob won.
Yeah.
You know, 8-4 personally in my mind. And I was there. You know, obviously, I would have to watch the fight on TV to get a different texture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of how the fight went, you know, so I can see what the fans saw. But being there, I felt like Danny Jacobs won.
Yeah. And Willie, you know, I mean, obviously you did lose the fight against Golovkin, But what I noticed with you, though, Willie, is it seemed to me like you were still a little bit more, and this is not a knock on Danny Jacobs, but you were willing to exchange more, and you only have 6 knockouts, and you were more willing to exchange with Gennady Golovkin, I thought, than Danny Jacobs. I thought Danny Jacobs, he allowed some of the rounds that he won to be closer than they really had to be. I mean, did you kind of see it that way? Not trying to make you compare yourself to him, but do you notice you just engaged a little bit more with Golovkin than Danny Jacobs did?
Yeah, but that's what I mean by smart fighting. You know what I mean? You have to know when to engage. You know,
When not to. Okay.
You know, strictly off of being pissed that I was not down twice. You know what I mean? And it got me some success, but I ultimately ended up getting stopped in the 6th round. So that's why I said you have to smart fight him.
Yeah.
You know, Golovkin is sharp and he's very strong. So I don't think that hurt Danny to do that because he knew when to box and when to bang. And then if he just sit there and tried to bang a little bit more, you know, maybe it could have been an earlier night for him. But I think he did everything right, man. Personally, I didn't see anything wrong with his performance. It's not that he could have did more, he could have did less. I felt like he was on point the whole time, and the fight had me on the edge of my seat the whole time. Yeah. And, I mean, first, I think he won, but I understand the politics bias, and I understand that there's more money in a Golovkin
Canelo
fight now.
Yeah.
So I mean, I understand that you can't you can't pass up that big money, but then at the same time, you know, at what cost? Why would you take a fair victory from a man just because there's more money on the table down the line? You know, but then again, this boxing game isn't that fair. I mean, it's politics. You know what I mean? Why do you think they have a red and a blue corner?
Yeah, real talk.
Hey, I have a quick question for you. This Big Milt right here, man. Hey, first of all, I want to give a shout out to you, brother, for taking that fight at the point in your career where I think that you know, that's not a fight I was thinking that you should have taken at that point in your career. But I give you mad props for taking it. Do you think that what you've learned from that fight and since that point, that you would take that opportunity to fight him again, and do you think it would be a different outcome if you ever had the opportunity to fight him again?
Willie, you there, Willie?
Yeah, whoever was talking, I could barely hear him. I don't know if
my bad.
Up to the mic or not, but I didn't hear anything he said.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll try to
rectify it.
He was basically just asking you, do you think you would fight him if you had a second opportunity? He said he thought you took the fight a little earlier than you had to against Golovkin, and he said, would you take that fight again in the future? Do you think things would be different since you took the fight early in your career against Golovkin?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, that fight was 2 years ago. You know what I mean? And the biggest thing I did was came off of Boxino. And then I defended, you know what I mean, the NADO and NADA against Brian Vera. That was a big one for me. But I had never been on that big of a stage, you know, the main event. And, you know, it was the event, the stress of the event, you know, kick my behind worse than the actual fight, you know. But, I mean, I'm a firm believer in God. I don't think God makes any mistakes, you know what I mean? And I learned a lot from that fight, and it set me up, you know, for the Gabe Rosado fight, because the stress of that event, you know, being called on a 25-day notice to fight a 12-round fight, you know, on the biggest stage, you know, I mean, you guys do the math, that's 3.5 weeks. You know, these guys have, these pay-per-view events, guys have 8 and 10-week training camps. You know, I had to, you know, good thing I live in the gym, but they gave me that fight on a 25-day notice. But going into that fight, I knew, like, it's like, okay, this isn't my first rodeo. I've been to the big stage before. So everything I learned from what I went through on the political side, from being on the B side, fighting Golovkin, when I went into the Gabe Rosado fight, it was like, you know, been there, done that. You know what I mean? I've been here before. So, you know, I don't regret it. You know, it's a blessing in disguise because I learned so much from that fight, you know, and that event. But, you know, if I was able to get that fight again in the future, I wouldn't think twice about taking it. You know, I would jump to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Willie.
Real fighter.
Right on.
Absolutely, Willie. Excuse me. So, Willie, once again, you had a great performance against Gabe Rosado. I want to know, who are you looking for next? I mean, I know you called out some names. Matter of fact, I put the interview up on my channel. But if you could put some names out there, let everybody know who you want next, or who's on your short list right now.
There's a couple different guys, man. I heard Carlos is moving up to 160. You know, I mean, everybody says Willie Monroe, all of his knockouts were at 54. He's not a big puncher at 160. I mean, if that's the case, then it shouldn't be too hard to make a fight. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be nothing to be scared of. I knock nobody out at 160, right? So, you know, Carlos, he's making his move from 54 up to 60. That would be great. If we could get that sometime in May, or I tried to get I've been asking to get Abenfield for a speech day. That's the little wrestling guy.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, I've been trying to get him for 2 years. We were trying to get him before I fought Brian Vera.
Wow.
Is that right?
And he wouldn't fight me.
Interesting.
I've been trying to get him. I tried to get that kid. What's the Ukrainian kid that got stopped by the kid from DC for that WBC eliminator?
Which kid? Which kid?
Is his name Deverchenko? Deverchenko gets fought, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm not sure with that one right there. I'm not sure.
Well, I feel like if they all just, they running through knocking guys out. That's what I'm asking for. After both of those opinions, we got turned down. I said, well, y'all knocking everybody out. Y'all Billy badass. Let me get my shot. Let me get a shot at one of you guys. Let me see if y'all can knock me out.
Yeah.
Got turned down. You know what I mean? I've been asking for Billy Joe Saunders. That's who I really want. If I had to ask for number one on my list, that's who I really want. You know, he had the nerve to call me a bum, but then he won't tell people that when they ask him to fight me, he said he'd rather fight Gabe Rosado instead, and then fought out against Gabe Rosado. So, I mean, if we can get, Billy Joe Saunders, Charlo, or even I asked for the Polish kid, the undefeated kid, 23-0, with 8 knockouts. Magic Selection. I asked, can I get him? Everybody started humming and hawing when I asked, can I get him? I could see if I was out here asking for guys with a 500 record, or guys that we know. I'm out here asking for these undefeated guys with big knockout records.
Yeah.
They start humming and hawing. So
I mean,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, speaking of that, and I'm going to take a call. There's a lot of people on hold right now. See if anybody have any questions for you or any thoughts on the fight. But I also want to ask you before we open the phone lines, Willie, what did you think about Canelo when you called out Canelo and his trainer said, we don't want to fight a guy with a style like that? I mean, me personally, I feel for you to be a well-rounded fighter, you should be able to beat every style. And if you have a great trainer, you should, he should be teaching you how to cut off the ring, all that kind of stuff. I mean, what did you think about them saying that?
I mean, that's their ploy to get out of a tough fight. You know what I mean? You can't beat somebody that you feel like that style is difficult for you. You're going to downplay it and, it's easy to swindle the fans. So if you tell the fans, oh, he's boring, he's this, I don't like him, I don't like this style, we want somebody we can engage with, the fans say, yeah, you're right. But the fans can't read between the lines and say, wait a minute. This guy wants somebody that's just going to stand in front of him that's going to be a punching bag all day. Okay, we see what he wants. He wants an easy win.
Mm-hmm.
Boxing is probably the most athletic sport. Why can't I use my legs? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With Dave Rosado, I didn't even move. All the fans said, oh, he's just going to move and box. He's just going to move and box. I stood in front of this dude for 10 seconds at a time, daring him to hit me, and he wouldn't swing. We're talking about the guy who walked through the night of Golovkin's punches and was fighting back. We're talking about a guy who was going back and forth with David Lemieux, who was knocking everybody out. We're talking about a guy who walked through firepower and was up on some of the judges' scorecards when he fought Chris Tucker, who's a big knockout fighter. So here we are with Willie Monroe, little old 5'10", 158 pounds, no knockout Willie Monroe, and you won't press.
But see,
I'm standing dead in front of you, daring you to hit me.
Yeah, but see, Willie, I mean, it's still hypocritical though, because we've seen Canelo move around in the ring against certain opponents. He said, matter of fact, going into the Angulo fight, he said, I'm going to have to use foot movement in this ring because the guy is aggressive. He's this, so I'm going to have to box him and be smart. I remember when he fought Leonardo Tyner. He moved around the ring more than you moved around the ring against Gabe Rosado. So it's not really, adding up when you really think about it.
You want me to tell you what it really is?
Huh? Go ahead. Speak the truth, man.
I'm black.
No.
You say
I hadn't noticed.
you say
anything I do in the ring can and will be used against me in the court of boxing.
You say, hey, are you saying are you saying?
If I sit there and banged out, if I sit there and banged out and took punches to the face all day, I'm a stupid bum.
Yeah.
If I make guys miss, I'm scared.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
I got to stand there. I mean, like, look, man, I got a college degree. I graduated from my Del Carnegie course this Wednesday, and I'm
Congratulations.
going back
Hey,
to
big
for
up.
another degree. Look, I don't put in all this hard work and become educated to stand in the middle of a ring and let a guy beat my brains out that I worked so hard to get, just so some fans can say he's a warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, who's paying money to help Gerald McClellan? If you take some of these casual fans and say, you know who Gerald McClellan is, they'll scratch their damn head. They don't know who Gerald McClellan is.
Right.
They don't know who Fernell Whitaker is. They don't know who Melvin Taylor is. These are guys who put their life on the line, and
Terry
now
Norris.
they're suffering from it. You don't see none of these fans donating $10 to a GoFundMe to help them. If you want me to fight like that,
That's real talk. That's
no.
and yeah.
Smart that.
And once again, I mean, we need more people, especially boxers. I mean, you know, we can say it, the media, the real new media, we could talk about the double standards, but I think it's more important for boxers like yourself to acknowledge the double standards that exist in the sport of boxing. And you're right, we know what time it is. Like you said, when black fighters on the coincidental list, when they stand there, go toe to toe, if they get hit, then they said, oh look, but his defense is suspect. He ain't got the best defense. But when they move around in boxing, they say it's running. So we just need more people to address what is very obvious in the sport.
It's all about knowing when to box.
Of course. Yeah.
For example, when Floyd fought Canelo, he didn't just run. He boxed him and he fought him. It's knowing when to box and when to bang. I do believe that. I didn't watch the fight last night. I couldn't watch it. I like Danny.
Oh, man. You missed that Miss Boxing, baby?
I couldn't even watch it.
Oh, man. You got to watch that.
You missed the masterpiece.
No, but listen. But I ordered the fight, and my sons were coming in the room, and they were telling me, "Mom, he's doing good. He got dropped." So when I came out and watched the replay, I saw the knockdown. To me, it was more of a push. He was kind of off balance. But I do feel that going into that fight, he probably had to have the mentality that Spence is going to have going to London. I have to knock him out, because if I don't, I'm not going to get the decision. He had to knock him out to win. That's just the politics of boxing. They want that Triple G and Canelo fight. So you know how you stop that? You knock him out. They ran Holyfield and Tyson. They wanted Douglas and Tyson. They wanted Tyson and Holyfield. So what did Douglas do? He stopped him. You have to knock the person out to guarantee your fight. And it's a shame, but that's boxing. And that's what it was. It was not going to give him no decision.
Oh, they definitely were.
You know what it's like? It's like the Felix Sturm and Oscar De La Hoya fight, too.
Exactly.
How there's the Bernard Hopkins and Oscar De La Hoya fight. And we all know Felix Sturm beat the brakes off Oscar, but,
Time out, though. She wasn't even better. Trinidad and B-Hop, they had already made up the shit with Trinidad name on it. So what did B-Hop go in there and do? He stopped him. You have to make it look. I'm going to derail your whole plan. And their plan is to have Triple G and Canelo probably by the fall. So I knew a decision they were not going to give him. I don't care how close that fight was. He had to either drop him a few times or stop him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I do believe he fought a great fight from what, the clips and shit I saw. One thing I think his trainer told him that I kind of didn't like a little bit was, I don't want you to engage at all. I do feel
Yeah.
that
We sat here, hey,
him.
Dontae and I were watching it.
But at the end of the day,
I don't mean to
but I think he had Triple G a little gunshot, too.
He did.
Because Triple G usually is known for working the body. He didn't even work his body.
Not at all.
I think he was
he was afraid of getting countered.
Huh?
He was afraid of getting countered. He was wary of the counter.
That's what it was.
Why I believe that had Danny stepped to him for even a couple more rounds, he either would put him on the canvas, because he punched Ricky Carter's. Listen, their knockout ratio is not much of a difference. It's not much of a difference. I feel that had he stepped to him just a little bit more, he probably could have got him out of there.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I totally agree. But hey, like I said, we had these cats on hold for a long time. Before I let Willie Monroe go, I want to take a call and see what what they got on their minds right now. So let's take a call from the callers right now. All right, so we got 951. What's your name? Where you calling from, fam?
Ed from Cali.
What's going on, man? What's on your mind, Ed?
Hey, just a quick question for Willie Monroe. Well, I had the same scorecard as you as well. I had it 8-4, and with the knockdown counted, I had it 7-5. But I guess my question would be, what the relationship between Al Heyman and HBO would be now, since he actually let that fight happen and Danny Jacobs kind of got, I wouldn't say robbed because we all knew what was going to happen, but basically cheated out of that fight.
You asking me what would Al Heyman's relationship be?
I guess he was asking what kind of relationship. You wanted to know what kind of relationship they have, K2 Promotions has with Al Heyman. Is that what you were asking?
No, I'm asking, do you think that Al Heyman will put his fighter back in there with an HBO card again, since that happened to Danny Jacobs?
I think it depends on the situation. I don't think this one thing is going to stop Al from allowing his fighters to flourish and make money. You know what I mean? I don't think it's like one of those types of things. You know, Al has proven himself to be a very smart, if not the smartest businessman in boxing to me. I don't think he would, do something like that. But I think he'll be a little more watchful of different things with that happening. And I think he'll make sure his fighters have, you know what I mean, a better chance, especially going in on the B side.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't know. That's just my opinion from the work that I've seen Al do. I'm not signed to Al. You know what I mean? That's not who I'm with. So.
Yeah.
Wish it was, but that's not who I'm with. So
I just believe that going into that fight, that even if you look on ESPN and Dan Raphael he was updating the score on ESPN, because I was watching it on the British
telecast,
the British broadcast, and they were like, "Oh man, this is an upset. This is the biggest upset since Douglas and Tyson."
Wow!
And they had it for Jacobs. They had it for Jacobs by 2 rounds. So I'm looking at them, and then I'm checking my phone, and I'm seeing Dan Raphael. He's giving rounds to Gennady Golovkin that
Dan Raphael.
That basically the rounds that the British broadcasters are giving Danny Jacobs, and I'm like, this is like a conspiracy theorist. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but this was like a conspiracy. Like they basically was just going to give this fight to Gennady Golovkin.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter if Danny Jacobs went in there and pulled a Floyd Mayweather. They was going to find some type of way to give Gennady Golovkin that fight.
Yeah,
that's just like what Muslima just alluded to. You know what I mean? Like it seems like you got a halfway killer guy to get his hand across. It's not, you know what I mean? If you're not the favorite, because they're already looking down the road. You know, and you, I mean, it's sad. It's really sad, but that's just the way boxing is right now, man.
That's the way boxing is, man.
You as a fan, I'm glad you noticed that. And I wish these other fans would notice that. You know what I mean? And put some heat on these people, because at the end of the day, when the fight is over, people that have to deal with it is the fighter. You know what I'm saying? Not promoters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not the commentators, not the network. It's the fighters that have to deal with it. And it's sad that we put in all of this work to get here and be lied to and have stuff taken from us, and then to have the fans say, you know, F you, you're not that good anyway. You know what I mean? So, the fighters have to deal with the bad end of the stick, no matter which way it goes. You see what I'm saying?
That's why you gotta have you gotta be strong, you gotta be tough. It's boxing. It's been like this for years. It's the country territory.
Absolutely.
It is what it is.
Absolutely, man.
We're fans. We're never satisfied. We're always gonna talk shit.
Right? And Willie.
That's what it is.
And Willie, before I let you go, man, my last question, and then you could, tell us whatever else is on your mind before we let you go. But I wanted to ask you, so how do you think Golovkin fares with the Jamal Charlos, the Canelo Alvarez's, the Kazitses, all the best fighters at middleweight and at super middleweight? How does he fare off with some of them guys?
It's probably we can kill Coach says, but Charlo, I think he can take a couple fights at middleweight. It's only a 6-pound difference, but he's a big junior middle. But myself too, I'm a big junior middle, or a small middle, however you want to say it. It's both the same thing. And you got to be a big middleweight and a strong middleweight to be able to deal with Golovkin. I got to give Golovkin props, but people don't realize it's not just his power, man. He's very accurate.
Yeah.
They look at his power and say, "Oh, this guy is like he's skillfully awkward. You know what I mean? And he's very accurate, so it makes it difficult with someone like him. So if Charlo is thinking about a Gennady Golovkin, he could definitely take some other fights at middleweight and acclimate to that weight. You know what I mean? Because that's, that was one of my mistakes. Jumping up from junior middleweight, fighting everybody in boxino, and going straight for the freaking top dog at middleweight. You know what I mean? And I found out real quick that middleweight power from the top middleweight.
Wow, that's a great acknowledgement, man. That's really good on your part. Very classy.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, well, I don't want to hold you up on this Sunday, Willie Monroe, so I thank you for your time, man. Anything else you want to say to the fans before we let you go, family?
God bless, man. Thanks a lot for calling the career, Willie Monroe. And thank you guys for having me.
All right, man.
Bye, Willie.
All right, man. Take care, man. I want to get you back on when you get your next fight, man. Take care.
Absolutely. God bless, man.
God bless.
All right. All right, guys. So that was Willie Monroe. My man, he was kind enough to take some time out to give his thoughts on Golovkin's performance and Danny Jacobs' performance this past weekend. So let's really get into it. Once again, I thank everyone for holding online right now. We're going to take another call in a minute. But my man Kirk Jackson, since we ain't heard from you in a minute, I want to get your thoughts on this fight. What was your reaction? How did you have the fight scored? And just go ahead and give us your summation, man.
I scored the fight 8 rounds to 4 in favor of Jacobs. I thought he boxed beautifully. He had Golovkin really thinking in there, and he had him resetting. He used his angles. He switched to southpaw. He shot the jab out there. He gave him different looks. He made Golovkin really have to, just think, and he kept making him reset. And I thought he fought, I won't say a perfect fight, but damn near, a perfect fight. Like, he fought really well.
Yeah.
He actually pushed Golovkin back at times. He attacked the body. He threw combinations. One of the things that we talked about prior to the show was how at the end of certain rounds, Jacobs would be in Golovkin's face, and we'd be talking shit to him.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
you can see his body language of confidence. Like, this is my fight. This is my night. You're in for a long night. I'm the champ. And that leaves an impression with the viewers and even with some judges. And as an observer, I'm like, wow, you would think that Golovkin is this big monster, yet, Jacobs is the one telling him that, this is my night, this is my ring. And it kind of goes back to what we said earlier, probably a few months ago, how Jacobs, he's going to be a tough fight just based on his experience, based on his physical attributes, his speed, his power. And he beat cancer, and I said he deserves a movie. If he wins, and I still think he deserves a movie. I mean, this man beat cancer. He's not going to be afraid of another fighter. And another thing we touched on, too, it's remarkable that he got knocked down, just like Andre Ward got knocked down against Kovalev, who's another monster. Mm-hmm. And instead of folding under pressure, this man rose to the occasion and said, fuck that. I'm gonna take this fight the best way I can, and I'm going to fight back. And I think that's what we saw from Jacobs last night, and I think he left a great impression on any unbiased fan or observer of boxing. So I was very impressed. I thought he won the fight.
And let me say this, Kirk. Once again, we're about to take another call, guys. But before I take another call, I want to say this, man. If you notice, this is one of the main flaws that Golovkin has, and it's going to really, really cost him when he gets in there with a fighter even more confident than Danny Jacobs, has natural athleticism, and has decent power. If you notice, when it comes to Gennady Golovkin, he has a difficult time transitioning from defense to offense.
I noticed that too.
Yeah, if you watch a Mike Tyson, for example, if you throw punches at Mike Tyson, that's usually when he catches you. He'll bob and he'll weave. He'll go underneath your punches. He'll catch you right when you're throwing jabs, right hands. He'll bob and weave, go underneath, come up with a hook, a right hand, whatever. We see it time and time. Floyd Mayweather, for example, whenever you attack Floyd, that's really when you're putting your head in the meat grinder. If you throw a jab, Floyd Mayweather, he'll catch you with a pull right hand counter. If you try to go to his body, he'll catch you with uppercuts, and so on, right? We do not see this with Gennady Golovkin, and that is his main problem. When you attack Gennady Golovkin, he freezes up. He does not let his hands go, and he even backs up. And see, and he showed more respect for Danny Jacobs than anyone else he's ever showed respect for. The difference from Danny Jacobs and Willie Monroe and Kell Brook is the fact that Danny Jacobs, he has size and he had power. So once again, like you were saying, Kirk, they can't use the excuse that, Danny Jacobs, he weighed in and he rehydrated to a heavier weight, because just like you said, and I've said on numerous occasions, Abel Sanchez always brags about Golovkin sparring with cruiserweights, knocking them out. I'm a witness. I've actually seen Gennady Golovkin spar with very good name, I should say, cruiserweights, undefeated cruiserweights. I've seen Danny Jacobs drop them with, I've seen Gennady Golovkin drop them with body shots, okay? So that's not an excuse. And this is why I always say to fans, let's see how he deals with a guy who has decent kind of power and has a similar type of confidence going into the fight that Gennady Golovkin usually, has going into a fight. Now, the one thing I will take away from Danny Jacobs, I agree with Miss Boxing Baby. I didn't really like what some of the things Andre was saying, his trainer, because he kept telling him just touch him with the jab, finesse versus power and all that. No. I think when you jump on Golovkin, once again, all he does is block. It's actually more safe. It's actually more safe to actually exchange with him than just backing up and waiting for Golovkin to be first.
Because he keeps his hands at home when you're throwing at him.
But that's when Golovkin is more comfortable. Golovkin is more comfortable when you're moving away from him and when he's chasing you. If you bring the fight to Golovkin, he just freezes up and he does not try to counter you. You don't have to worry about him countering you. That's the thing right there.
You got the power. You got power too. I don't know if y'all remember in the Canelo fight when Floyd Dad said to him, "How you feeling? You all right? You ready to step to him?" That's what I was waiting for him to say.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I thought he was gonna let him loose. I thought he was going to let him loose in the second half.
In Boxing Baby, Dontae and I were sitting there saying the exact same thing last night. It's like, hey, he got to be first. He got to be aggressive. He got to go in, be smart about it. It's got to be some calculated aggression. But we were just saying that, hey, he was just – opportunities were there, but he just did not seize them.
Yeah, he didn't. He allowed a lot of them rounds to be closer than they had to be.
Yes.
I mean, there were times me and Milt was watching the fight together, and there were times where we seen it, Milt. Golovkin would start, an exchange, and then Jacobs would finish it, and then Golovkin would back up and just block, and it's like Golovkin was just waiting. He was just blocking,
waiting for the onslaught
to come,
and it never came.
And then he put his hands down and be like, "Oh, okay, he didn't jump on me." So that's the only mistake Danny Jacobs made. Let's go ahead and take another call. Once again, man, I thank you guys for staying on hold. Okay, we got I think this is Texas. I'm starting to memorize these area codes. We got 832. What's going on? Where you calling from, fam?
It's your boy Jimmy J Smooth, touching live and direct from the 832, man. What's poppin'? What's dropping, Dontae?
Jimmy J in the building. Y'all go ahead and check out this man's YouTube channel, man. He get it cracking, man. So what's going on, Jimmy? What's on your mind?
Okay, the way I scored the fight, at bare minimum, you can only give Triple G 4 rounds. If you include the knockout, it'll be 7-5. I only gave Triple G 3 rounds because what I saw was Danny Jacobs outboxing Triple G. Now, the first 3 rounds was closer than it should have been, but you cannot say Triple G won those first 3 rounds due to inactivity. There was times where Danny Jacobs was hitting his boy with Street Fighter combos, and he just folded up. How can any casual boxing fan or a logical thinking person look at that fight and say, well, Triple G won that fight? Just tell me, how? He was folding up and not doing anything.
Yeah, the second half, he really didn't do too much. He really did. And you know, what bothers me, or I should say what annoys me, is, once again, all of the fans that said Ward versus Kovalev was the worst robbery ever. These are all the same fans that are now saying, hey, man, Golovkin won the fight. Look at the punch stats, et cetera, et cetera. He won the fight. I want to say this to all the fans that keep talking about punch stats.
Please say
when
it.
you're watching the fight, We don't see punch stats. Judges don't see punch stats. They don't see replays. All they see is the actual fight.
Church.
So if that was the case, you wouldn't have Box Nation saying that Golovkin lost the fight if punch stats was that visible. You know what I mean? So that doesn't make any sense. I clearly thought Danny Jacobs won the fight. The fight was close. I don't know if I'll say it was a highway robbery, but I will say I thought Danny Jacobs won the fight. Once again, Golovkin did nothing in the second half. But Danny Jacobs, I don't even believe that was the best of Danny Jacobs.
It's not.
And that's what makes it so crazy.
Out, man.
That's what makes it so crazy, man. That wasn't the best of Danny Jacobs, and he still was winning a lot of these rounds. We have seen tonight or this weekend that Golovkin is very uncomfortable with fighters that have similar power to him, and they will fight back. Terrence Crawford, he said it in a video I did where I have a clip of a whole bunch of boxing experts, professional boxers, trainers, all giving their take on what they think about Golovkin, and all of them were pretty much saying the same thing. They were saying, he's strong. They would all bring up his power, but they would all say, but we got to see how he deals with a guy who will fight back. That's what Terrence Crawford said. Those were his exact words. We got to see how he deals with a guy that fights back, and we seen how he did against a guy that fought back this weekend. So this is the beginning of the end, I feel, for Gennady Golovkin. I know the Golovkin, supporters, they're going to be mad that I said that, but we speak the truth over here, man. This is the beginning of the end. Mark my words. The better the competition gets, the quicker we're going to see Golovkin take an L, for real. Go ahead.
Exactly.
Who was that? Somebody about to say something.
And not only that, Golovkin just wasn't throwing enough punches for you to even say he even won the fight. Even if you say the fight's close. Mm-hmm. He wasn't throwing enough to get a clear-cut unanimous decision or a split decision. I looked at that fight multiple times, and all I've seen was Gennady Golovkin was eating jabs and combos. And another thing, too, every time Gennady Golovkin cut off the ring, either Daniel Jacobs backed that boy off, either he faded him out, or he clinched him to where he couldn't really deliver his puncher power. So you can't really say Danny Jacobs was doing all that running when Golovkin had the ability to cut off the ring and deliver the punishment. And I've told people this for years because I've been watching boxing for a while, but over the last 6 years, I've studied it analytically the way I did due to my martial arts background.
Okay.
If a person cuts off the ring, if he doesn't deliver the necessary punishment or go to the body or knock him out like Triple G typically does, he's going to get that damn work. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Especially if the person can fight off the ropes or fight going backwards. You know what I'm saying? And Triple G had this man cornered multiple times. But when Danny Jacobs faded him out, Triple G started back to back, and that's when Danny Jacobs started sliding to left or right to left and started popping his ass. You know what I'm saying? So there's no way anybody can say that Triple G won this fight. He did nothing. The punch that if Triple G truly landed 100 punches, 200 punches on Danny Jacobs, he would have knocked him out. I don't think Triple G landed. I don't think he landed 70 punches, and I'm just going to be keeping 110, man.
Yeah, you might as well go 125 if you're going to go 110.
And to your point, like with the CompuBox stats, it says that he threw like 100 and some odd more punches. I didn't see that.
I didn't see it at all.
I definitely didn't see that.
I have a video, and I'm gonna have to put it on my new channel. It's on my old channel, Dontae 562, or actually I changed it to Dontae Williams. That's the channel. But I have a video where I debunk the punch stats of the Pacquiao versus Tim Bradley fight, I believe it was, where they had Pacquiao landing and throwing a whole bunch more punches than Tim Bradley. So what I did, I went back and I started counting the punches thrown and landed, in some of the rounds. And to no one's surprise, those punch stats were way off. They was giving. They had Pacquiao landing like 30 punches, and then you watch the round, and he only lands like about 5 punches.
Yeah, because He's swinging wild.
Yeah. And Jim Lampley, he basically contributes to that ridiculous, shit when he basically sees punches that clearly don't land. Virgil Hunter brought this up with an interview that we just recently did with him. He said, Jim Lampley, he'll see somebody throw a punch and it will clearly not land, and he'll be like, "Oh, beautiful right hand by Kovalev," So
I call him the throw by throw.
Yeah, the throw by throw.
Yeah,
versus Parnell Whitaker when Parnell Whitaker was making Oscar miss all those punches, he was like, "Oh, De La Hoya was landing."
Yeah.
I'm like, "What the hell he did?" Go back to what you were saying, sir.
Yeah. Well, his accuracy was 100%. When it came to landing on the air. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much when he was 100% landing punches. But that's why I'm saying you gotta take these punch stats with a grain of salt, unless we obviously see it. Because every now and then there is a fight where you have a volume puncher, and you could clearly see he's throwing 1,000 punches to a person's 500 punches or something like that. Or when you see sharpshooters who are very accurate, where you can clearly see the punches landing. Like sometimes you'll see Errol Spence, Floyd Mayweather, accurate fighters, and they'll have this high 60%, landing, percentage. That's when it's very obvious. But yeah, man, and we also talking about HBO is the one that's doing the punch stats. They don't hire a third party to do the punch stats, which they probably should do. They got HBO. Yeah. They got HBO putting out the stats. They got HBO judging the fight with Harold Letterman. You know what I mean? Yes. So it's all backyard boogie type stuff. You know what I mean? It's all HBO cooked up stuff. That's pretty much what it is, man. But Jay, man,
that's why I call him HBO, not HBO. Became a hoe. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man, that's what it is, family. Hey, Jay, I'm gonna let you go, man, so we can get to another call. My man Milton is about to go over the scorecards right now.
Okay.
All right, take care.
Definitely.
Hey, peace out.
All right, man.
Hey, you know what, man? And I have it right here, the official New York State Athletic Commission, the scorecard from the fight last night. I went and I downloaded it. I had to review this thing for myself.
And guys, we having a little some technical difficulties with the camera right now, guys. Yeah. So we'll get the camera back up in a minute. But go ahead, Milt.
But as you know, last night when we were watching it, both of us walked away from there thinking, I'm like, hey man, Jacobs, won this fight. Mm-hmm. And then when it came to the decision, I was like, man, I was a little bit disappointed. But one of the things we both were saying was that, hey, Jacobs had opportunities where he should have engaged a little bit more. And he should have taken it out of the judge's hands and not left it in question.
Yeah.
So I went back, man, and I'm looking at these scorecards, and one thing that surprised me, because I wanted to make sure that these judges weren't full of shit, was 2 of the 3 judges had Jacobs winning all of the rounds 10 through 12, 10, 11, and 12.
They had Jacobs winning
2 of the judges. And one judge had him winning 10 and 11, and gave Triple G the 12. But I'm like, okay, all right. So I'm just making sure that I'm not off my rocker. That Jacobs was closing the fight out. Mm-hmm. One of the rounds that stuck out in my mind was round 8. When I went back and watched that fight, man, I watched the fight 3 times today, just breaking it down by each judge just to see what the judge was looking at. Mm-hmm. And so round 8, all 3 judges gave round 8 to Triple G. And I'm looking at that round 8, and I'm like, that's a round I know definitely that I'm thinking that Jacobs won. Mm-hmm. A few of the other rounds that and they gave it to Triple G, and it was based off of one uppercut. I know that it was that one clean uppercut, but the thing is, Jacobs had outboxed him.
Was that the round? Okay, that was the round where Jacobs was winning the whole round.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, Golovkin came out of nowhere. Yeah. He hit him with like an uppercut. I think it was 2 uppercuts actually. And then that was pretty much all he did in that round.
That was all he did in that round.
And that's when I kept saying to you, see, if you sit there and just wait. And I tell my son this all the time too, because sometimes when my son is sparring, sometimes he'll do that. Sometimes he'll just sit there and wait. And that's when whoever he's sparring with, they end up doing better. But when my son is first, he's winning the rounds easy.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what Jacobs did, especially in that round you're talking about. Go ahead, Mel.
So what I was trying to do was just get in the judge's mind and see what they were saying. They weren't of course, they have different rounds for each fighter throughout the fight. And but what I was looking at was to make sure that at least the judges had somewhat of a consensus that Triple G kind of faded towards the end of the fight, and that Jacobs was pretty much the one that was, you can go to just Google it and download it, man, and y'all can look at it for yourself.
They have it on fightnews.com too.
Yeah, it is on Fight News.
Yeah,
ESPN had it, but I just Googled. I got the both cards from last night because I wanted to see what they were thinking on the other fight right before the main event.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I will say is that, hey, I walked away from it thinking that Jacobs clearly won. Then after I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at it from the judge's perspective and trying to see where they were coming from with it, all I could walk away with it saying was that, hey, man, he had opportunities. I wish his corner hadn't told him not to engage.
Yeah.
I wish his corner had told him, hey, man, this is you can be out here making history tonight. Go out there, give it your all. Don't be first when you engage. Sit down on some of your punches and, I like how Willie Monroe said it, fight smartly. You know what I mean? It was he could have gone out there and fought that man. It didn't have to be a boxing lesson, but he was going to have to fight him. It was obvious to me that Triple G was kind of intimidated by the size of Jacobs.
No doubt about it.
He was intimidated by the power. He knew that this was somebody he was not about to bully. Mm-hmm. So I think that Triple G was just trying to get a 12 round. I don't know if he was really trying to get a knockout himself either. He was throwing some hard shots, but he was picking his shots. And he was not like opening up and leaving himself open either. So I think that he was respecting Jacobs' power. He respected the size. He knew he couldn't bully him. So he was trying to ride it out for 12 himself. So I walked away from this with one thing, and that was that a greater admiration for Danny Jacobs. A lot of people thought that he was going to be starched out.
The glass jaw.
He proved. He proved a lot of the naysayers
turned out
wrong.
to be the first fighter to go 12 rounds with Golovkin. Had Golovkin saying, Danny Jacobs, my favorite fighter.
Right.
He said, Danny Jacobs, my favorite fighter. He said, I'm not killer, I'm boxer.
Yeah.
So
he changed it to a boxer last night, didn't he?
It's like Golovkin said, to hell with this Mexican style stuff. I'm boxer, goddammit. It's boxing style, goddammit.
Oh,
That's
man.
pretty much what he said after that. After he messed with that Danny Jacobs, he said, I ain't no damn killer.
No. But that's what I walked away from it with, man. I know a lot of people are upset, but I will say, hey, man, it is what it is. And after watching it so many times a day,
at least our eyes got to see it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
At least we got to see it, no matter what. And Milton, not to cut you off, but this is something I also want people to understand. It don't matter how much the judges are helping you. It don't matter how much the media, Jim Lampley and his gang, it don't matter how much they're helping you. No matter what, you cannot make Golovkin a better fighter.
No,
you can't do it. You can't. You could try to push this ridiculous agenda. But at the end of the day, you can't make him a better fighter. So what that basically means is you can't protect this man when he gets in there with better competition. Speaking of better competition, your boy Jamal Charlo. I was told that Jamal actually said he wanted the winner of Golovkin versus Jacobs right before the fight. DJ Star is in the studio with us as well. You let us know, DJ Star, if there's anybody that have any questions in the comment section. Anything interesting going on? Because we don't have time to look at the chat right now. But she's going to let us know what it is right now. What's going on, DJ Star?
Hey, Dontae. Hi, Milton.
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing much. I'm just over here checking.
And she's not talking into the microphone, y'all. So if y'all barely hear her, that's why.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
I hear you. I hear you.
Good. Just a lot of,
a lot of debates talking about all kind of stuff right now. Okay. If you guys have any direct questions for us, once again, DJ Star, she's looking at the questions. She's also blocking, some of the supremacists in there as well. So we going to clean that up, real quick. And shouts out to my man, Coach Sheldon. Go ahead and subscribe to his channel as well. He's one of the moderators. He's also in there doing his damn thing. He the chat room terminator right now. You know what I'm saying? So he getting rid of them too. We raking and keeping the yard real clean for y'all. All right. Let's go ahead and take another call. We're gonna start. We need to touch on this Roman Gonzalez fight as well. That was another controversial decision. Did you ever work on saying this man's name? Was it Sri Socket?
I think it's Rung Visai.
I want to just call him Socket because I just want to call him like Socket to me. You know what I mean?
You get.
There you go. Let's go ahead and take another call real quick. We got 914. Thanks for holding, man. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Twiggy from Harlem, Dontae. What's going on with you?
I'm good, family. I'm good, man. What's good with you, man? Harlem, where you at? Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah,
we got you.
Yeah, I hear you now. So what's on your mind, man?
Hey, man, you bring up a good point about chocolate, man. I wanted to say the same thing. The way that fight went, it was the same for Jacob and Triple G.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob fought, they say not a perfect fight, but to me, he fought a hell of a fight.
Yeah.
Only thing I was pissed off about was when he kept switching to southpaw.
I think
that's what was hurting him the most.
I was pissed about that myself too.
Nate Campbell said that's how. I talked to Nate Campbell the other night, and he said that's how he got knocked down. He said he was switching, but I got to go back and watch it because I don't really know if he was switching at that time. I thought it was stupid. I thought it was stupid for Jacobs to be standing straight up with his back against the ropes, and you're gonna try to throw two straight punches at a time. It looked like he must have got too confident and too relaxed because that was a stupid move.
He got caught.
Yeah,
he got caught in the middle of a switch.
He did.
It was in the middle of a switch.
Yeah, I watched it today. I watched that several times today.
And he got caught flush with two right hands.
Yep. Yeah.
He caught him with the jab, and then he doubled up on the right hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it
double up on him.
Mm-hmm. And he was trying to land his left at the same time that Golovkin was throwing his punch, which didn't make sense at all. I mean, because that's just obvious. You don't want to be on the ropes. That's when Golovkin is at his best. So he was now later on, he was doing some smart things. He would do a little scoop move, what I call a scoop, where you basically you get on the ropes and you kind of duck and you go into a clinch and you basically get off the ropes.
Right.
That was really smart. And that's why I kept saying, why is this man not just tying him up enough? Because he didn't do it all the time. Sometimes he would try to stand there, but I guess that just means he was really comfortable. Like Jacob said, he realized the dude wasn't as hard of a puncher as he thought he was. But go ahead, Harlem. What else you was gonna say?
I mean, Mayweather said it best. He said he's a straight up and down fighter.
Yeah.
And Danny proved that.
Yeah,
he proved that. Oscar said it too.
And Danny proved that.
Oscar said it. Oscar said 2 years ago that he cannot fight going backwards. And that's what we seen this weekend as well. Go ahead, man.
Listen, Danny looked like he was Triple G, and Triple G looked like he was.
Oh,
like,
wow! That's a good one.
That's a great point, bro.
That's how I see it. That's how I
look. Yeah, he was pressing.
No, he exposed a major weakness, and that's Golovkin has cement shoes when he moves. He's very slow. He's very flat-footed, and the good thing about it, and it kind of reminds me of Danny Garcia, is like when you're that so grounded and you have really good balance and you can take shots. You know what I mean? You can withstand punishment, but as a bad effect to it, you really can't pursue somebody who has good footwork and who has good movement. You're going to look like the slowest man alive, and Danny exposed that. And that also goes to the point that the caller mentioned where Floyd said, no special effects. It's very basic.
Straight up and down. Yeah. Straight up and down. I mean, can you imagine if Floyd and Golovkin were they were in the same weight class? Can you imagine? I'm going to tell you this. After that performance, probably even before that performance, if they were the same weight class, fans would probably say Floyd is cherry picking by even talking about fighting Golovkin. They would probably say, "Oh, look at you cherry picking, trying to fight that flat-footed fighter." You know what I mean? That's what they would say. So,
absolutely.
Hey, Harlem. One thing too, I noticed last night when he was switching. Sometimes he was moving to his right. He was moving. He was moving right into Golovkin's right hand. He was moving to his left.
You should be moving to your right.
Right, and he was moving to the left, into Golovkin's right hand. And I was like, what is he doing?
Yeah, that was he was. See, like I said once again, Danny Jacobs did good, but there's no doubt about it. Danny Jacobs, he was still a little gun shy.
Oh yeah,
he was gun shy because if he would have let his hands go, I'm telling you, worst case scenario, he would have at least dropped Golovkin. He would have at least dropped Golovkin. He would have had his face plastered completely if he would have let his hands go. You know, he tried to counter too much. He didn't lead enough in this fight.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, he did more. He did more than Golovkin did, regardless of what the punch stats say. But at the same time, he didn't do enough to where he could. Because this was for him. This was for the taking. This was for Jacobs to take this fight. You know what I mean? Golovkin, like you just said, Golovkin was acting like he was Danny Jacobs, like it was the other way around. It looked like, you know, the big monster, the big drama show was really Danny Jacobs. He was King Kong last night. You know what I mean? So that's what it is, man.
Great points, man.
But hey,
you might have to go back and watch it again too.
I am. I'm gonna watch it about 3 or 4 times. I just, you know, haven't got to it though.
His coach at one point did tell him. He said, "Listen, be first." He said, "Stop letting him be first."
Oh, did he say that? First. Oh, yeah, I do. I got it.
He said, be first. He said, you don't got to wait on him. He said, be first.
Okay, because that's what I was waiting for.
To be first.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you said
and
that.
I did catch it. I caught it, but it was kind of later on in the fight, because initially he was telling him, hey, just move that jab up and down, keep working behind that stick. And he was saying, hey, just touch him every now and then roll out. You know what I mean? And then he was telling them to, you know, have what did he call it? Finesse against fire.
Finesse against.
You know, and then he was like, hey, you know, it was. I think he gave him those instructions a little bit too late in the fight for him to. I wish that he would have set the tone. Tell you the truth, I was watching it and I was like, man, he probably should have fought the Thurman fight against the Thurman Garcia fight. He probably should have jumped out on Triple G quickly, got some respect, and then started boxing him smoothly throughout the rest of the fight. Mm-hmm. You know, I wish he'd have just jumped on him early in the match, but I think he was respecting the power. Which you know was wise. And hindsight is always 20/20. I'm saying that now, but I'm saying here behind the microphone.
No, Abel ain't do anything.
Oh no. Man,
yeah, man.
I tell you, there was a lot of panic in that corner, but he didn't know what to tell.
They were a little nervous over there.
Well, you know, I mean, at the same time, I will say it did seem like, I mean, of course, Abel didn't really, you know, do anything that would change, you know, the tempo of the fight or anything like that. But at the same time, I seen Abel trying to, you know, pressure his charge to pressure Danny Jacobs. But to me, it seemed like Golovkin was like, no, I'm not killer. I'm boxer. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he was like, and that was the words. And I'm not, you know, I'm not paraphrasing. That's exactly what he said after the fight. He, you know, he looked at Abel like, what you talking about, man? I ain't killer no more. I'm boxer. And, you know, he's my favorite fighter now, you know. So.
And then he said something at the end of the fight, too.
Max even asked him. He couldn't even say, I want to fight. He just said, you know, man, you know, this is boxing.
Yeah.
He's a great fighter.
Yeah.
He couldn't even say he won. He know he lost.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what me and Dontae, we talked about this earlier, the body language.
Yeah.
At the end of the fight.
Yes.
And Carl, you just mentioned it. Golovkin looked like he lost. He didn't feel confident. He was like, damn.
Yeah.
I got work.
That was bad.
Yeah.
That was bad.
One thing about it,
that loss for Danny, man.
It was, and Danny said it at the end of the fight. He was like, he was standing there with him, and he was taking the shots. He wanted to see what the power was about. And he was like, you know,
it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. But I'm like, if it wasn't, man, why you was waiting? I'm like,
why
come
you
on,
was
man.
waiting so much?
Yeah,
I agree.
I know he didn't want to get caught, but I'm like, man, no risk. No, I tell all fighters, man, no risk, no reward. You know,
go ahead.
If you don't take that risk, man, you sometimes. But I will say this: I remember I was thinking about it today, and I'm not saying that they are quite on that level, but I remember the first fight with B-Hop and Roy Jones, and it was a tactical, you know, very, you know, kind of awkward. They were throwing each other off because they were each trying to counter the other, and it was kind of that's what kind of fight it kind of turned out to be. But it was a tactical fight. Roy obviously, you know, won that fight. It was clear that he won, but it was, you know, B-Hop was always in the fight, and it wasn't like he just thoroughly dominated him, you know. But sometimes when you have two fighters, man, that are at the top of their game, I will, and this is the thing too. You know, I'm not a fan of Triple G, but I do believe he does some things well, and the things that he does well, you know, he's able to. No one's been able to neutralize it. until last night.
Because that's the first time he was dealing with someone with a similar power,
right,
and had the confidence to fight back,
right,
as Terrence Crawford said.
And skill level too. We can't take away Jacob's skill. Jacobs had him all the way around in hand speed, footwork. Yeah. He gave him angles.
Danny Jacobs said it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think Danny left he left money on the table.
Yeah,
he
did. I agree.
He didn't spend. The gas tank was on.
You can't allow
half.
a fight to be that close when you know that they're gonna try to find every excuse to give Golovkin the fight.
Yeah,
because I mean, he could have. I'm telling you, man, this fight could have been on some Ricky Hatton, Costa Tszyu type stuff, where he could have really made Golovkin quit on the stool the way Costa Tszyu quit when he fought against Ricky Hatton. That was a fight where no one gave Ricky Hatton a shot to win that fight, and Ricky Hatton, it was skill versus will, and will prevailed that night.
He was losing on them scorecards too, right?
Oh yeah. It was kind of close, but you know how Ricky Hatton, he fights, he's all over you.
Yeah.
He'll punch and he'll tie you up, he'll mug you, he'll put his weight on you, and once again I go back to what Virgil Hunter said. Virgil Hunter said a lot of these Eastern European fighters, they are not comfortable being in a dogfight. They're not comfortable being in a dogfight. And I told Kirk right before the show started, and I told Milt while we were watching the fight, if you guys notice the last 10 seconds, usually fighters, they go toe-to-toe because they have nothing to lose. The fight is almost over. Even if you get hurt, it ain't going to get stopped,
right.
So they usually go toe-to-toe, at the last 10 seconds. If you guys notice, go back, watch that fight. I've only watched it once so far.
Who clinched?
But Danny Jacobs was the one that went toe-to-toe. Like, come on, let's go ahead and close this with a bang. He went toe-to-toe with Golovkin, and what did Golovkin do?
He clinched.
Golovkin, he clinched. He reached out. He reached out. Yeah. He reached out and clinched like, oh, no, Danny. I'm not killer. I'm boxer, Danny. Calm down with that.
Yeah, because it's an interesting thing. It's interesting that you say that because, the European fighters, they're trained on discipline.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And, over here in the U.S., like you said, we in that dog pound sometimes. So.
Yeah. That dog house, dog pound.
But I really think that Danny missed an opportunity. I think several opportunities where he could have imposed his will on Triple G and just threw flurries. But I know he didn't want to sit there in the pocket too long and leave himself open.
Mm-hmm.
I just think he overthought this fight, and I think that he really, at times, man, just could have just did his thing, and he was just a little too cautious.
Yeah.
And I could see how the judges gave it to Triple G. I walked away, like I said last night, thinking that, hey, Danny won that fight, and I'm looking at it today, and I'm like, hey, I could still find rounds that I think that they gave to Triple G that Danny should have taken. But the thing is, I mean, when you leave it in their hands and they're looking at it and they're trying to, when it comes to a champion, and sometimes the champion is going to get the benefit of the doubt when it's a close round.
And I'm gonna let my man go. Okay, I'm gonna let my man go, Harlem. We're gonna get to another call. Thanks, man. Take care. All right.
I appreciate it. Appreciate finally getting through, man. I've been listening and watching you since the walls was yellow, man. So when you had a back screen.
I appreciate it. That's what my
man.
man know what it is. He said when the walls was yellow. That's what it all. It's all good, fam. All right, take care, man. All right, man. Hey, this is what I want to say, man. Before we start talking about Roman Gonzalez, man, where are the decafs at, man? Y'all love being all in the chat room. I want y'all to call up, man. I mean, because they stay in the chat room because they know you can't really say too much you can't really say nothing too much.
I know, right?
To them. But when it comes to confrontation, to where you actually having a real conversation, they don't want no parts of it because they know that the stuff that they say, they know deep down it doesn't make any sense. They know that, we going to say something that logically makes sense, and they're going to be sitting over here like, they probably just going to hang up when you say something that makes sense. I want the decafs to call in. Y'all so bold doing all them drive-bys in the chat room. Why don't y'all call up and tell us what you thought about the fight? You know what I mean? I'm serious, man. Stop being scared. That's how you know they don't believe the stuff that they be saying.
I
man.
know. And
that's
DJ Star, if one of them,
they got an opportunity to call me up right now and say, Dontae, you're full of shit, you bastard, you're this and you're that. Tell me why. Tell me why. You got a platform right now. Go ahead, Milt.
No, I was saying, DJ, start telling me if some of them are over there, you know, in the DMs. Let me
deep in the DMs.
Deep in the DMs. Hey, hit us up and let us know what they're talking about over there.
Yeah.
Even if they disagree, I don't care.
I mean, there's a lot of ridiculous questions. Like, for example, Dontae, why do you not give Triple G any credit?
Tell him to call in.
You constantly criticize and never praise. But last week you were talking about, the fact that you think Triple G was going to win.
I picked. You're right.
Well, we both picked Triple G.
I picked Golovkin to win the fight.
Yeah.
When you say you're not giving him credit, tell me exactly what do you want me to say about Golovkin's performance against Danny Jacobs? What do you want me to say, guys?
I will say this.
And how much? And outside of me already saying that Golovkin is the best middleweight in the world, which he is right now. And I mean, it can kind of be questionable if now Danny Jacobs may have took that title, but still, before this fight, I've been saying for the longest, Golovkin is the best middleweight in the world. But what do you guys want me to make stuff up? You want me to tell you that he's pound for pound, top 25, the best in the world, and he would have beat, or in the last 25 years, like Dan Rafael would put it? Or do you guys want me to say that he would have beat the shit out of Marvin Hagler? And is that what you want me to make up stuff? Because we're not gonna hold your hand, walk you across the street and make you feel good. Exactly. We're not gonna do that. This is the big leagues. So if you can't take it,
I'll say this though. And after watching the fight last night, I kind of always believed in Triple G. I know that he is not the greatest boxer. He is not. And I do not think that he is pound for pound. I think he has freakish talent, freakish power at middleweight. I don't know how it translates up to 168 because I don't think that he has the requisite skills to drop down to any other lower weight class. He'll probably get outboxed, or if he goes up, how does his power, move up with him? But this is one thing I would say about last night's fight.
Mm-hmm.
The man went in. Jacobs was the bigger fighter. He was the bigger. I think last night Jacobs may have been a bigger puncher, even though Triple G dropped him. But
the body shots had Golovkin moving back.
Yeah.
Ooh,
so I give the man credit for going in, facing a man that he knew was a bigger puncher, was the bigger fighter, possibly the bigger puncher. And he didn't. He went in there. He did what he had to do in order to retain his titles. Mm-hmm. So I give that man props. He fought a good fight as well. And another thing too, he showed me that he could go 12 rounds. He could box somewhat better. He got in behind the jab, and he found another way to win besides knocking someone out. Mm-hmm. So I give him props for at least showing another. He needs a few more wrinkles to his game. If he is going to be that monster, but he's no monster, I guess. But
he's boxer. He's boxer.
I'm just surprised that he does not fight on the inside better than he does.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just surprised with the power that he has. I don't see him doing a whole lot of inside fighting.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised by that. And I don't know why. He just has to catch you at the end of his punch. He's a mid-range puncher. You know what I mean? And it's not like. Mid-range to outside puncher, and when he gets inside, he looks for the clinch, or somebody else is looking for the clinch. But there are not enough uppercuts and body work and everything from the inside. If he throws a body shot, usually it's going to be at somewhat of a distance, but it's not going to be him doubling up to the body.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that a whole lot from him.
Yeah.
And so it's just a few more wrinkles I think that he should have added to his game. I mean, by now he's 35.
He's 35.
So I don't think you're going to teach him a whole lot of new tricks, but
yeah. Let's try to move.
We'll move on.
Yeah, let's try to move on.
I give the man props. He fought a hard fight. He was in the fight himself too. So
yeah,
I mean, hey.
Oh yeah,
let's give him. I agree with some of them. We'll give the man props.
But just for the record, man, I mean, things are playing out the way I expected them to play out. I pretty much said that I thought this was the beginning of the end for Roman Gonzalez, and I thought that I now feel this is the beginning of the end for Gennady Golovkin. There are better fighters out there than Danny Jacobs, I truly believe. I believe that Jamal Charlo, I believe if he goes in there with the same confidence he went in there against Julian Williams, Jamal Charlo may even knock out Gennady Golovkin, man. He may even knock him out.
I don't doubt it, but I will tell you this. Danny Jacobs is no slouch.
No doubt about it.
I don't know if Charlo beats Jacobs.
You said you don't know. I mean,
I don't know if he beats Jacobs.
But you know what? You may be right.
He definitely shouldn't fight him in the first fight.
Styles make fights.
Right.
Styles make fights. I mean, me personally, I really don't want to do a lot of predictions on fights that ain't gonna happen. But
Right.
Styles do make fights. Because we know Charlo Golovkin may actually happen. I just feel now I will agree with you that maybe Jacobs will give Charlo a tougher fight than Golovkin will give Charlo. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but Styles make fights, man. And the thing is, Golovkin is not used to fighters, especially fighters that have reach, height, and they have power. That's something else I think that Golovkin was worried about. He was worried about the reach.
Mm-hmm.
He was worried about the power. Fighters have to realize that when you are aggressive with Golovkin, that's when you are actually safe. Some fighters think you're safe if you're moving around, you're ducking and you're dodging. No, you're actually in a safe zone when you're attacking Golovkin because Golovkin will not punch back. You don't have to worry about him. You don't have to worry about, damn, if I throw this jab, is something going to come out of nowhere and catch me? Damn, if I go to his body, am I going to get caught with an uppercut? You don't have to worry about that with Golovkin. Golovkin does not counter. He's not a counter puncher.
No.
Only time Golovkin is comfortable when he is backing you up. That's it. That is it, man. So anyway, man, let's go ahead. Guys, once again, we're going to take a call right now, but let's open up the next part of the show, go into the Roman Gonzalez segment. And, Roman Gonzalez, he got knocked down. Roman is in kind of a similar situation that Golovkin is in, Kirk, because I always say this, when you're in the smaller weight classes and you're like the strongest puncher in that division, your power can make up for a lot of your flaws. You can get outboxed by guys for a couple rounds. They may be better than you technically, skill-wise and everything, but you can use that big eraser, as Teddy Atlas would put it, and the equalizer is the power. You basically can get them out of there and erase all those rounds that you lost, right? But when you move up in weight and you start fighting guys that have power similar to yours, they have size similar to yours, now you can't rely just on power. Now you have to go to plan B. Now you have to be smarter. Now you have to have a better defense. Now now it's a battle of attrition, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what we're seeing with Golovkin, and that's what we're seeing with Roman Gonzalez. The only difference between the two is the fact that Roman can actually fight on the inside. He can actually exchange. He can land punches while his opponent is throwing punches. Like the replays that we seen last night, Milt, where Roman was catching the Thailand fighter with beautiful right hands in the middle of them exchanging. That's something that Golovkin is not willing to do. But trust me, ever since I seen Roman against Ario, the Puerto Rican fighter, I said to myself, or I said to everybody who was listening, this is the beginning of the end for Roman Gonzalez. Mark my words. There are much better fighters out there than the Thailand fighter. I thought Roman Gonzalez, I thought he had won the fight. I honestly have to go back and watch that fight.
He won that fight, man. I watched it again too.
I got to go back and watch it. I thought from what I seen, I thought he won the fight, but clearly, regardless if I thought he won the fight, he struggled against a fighter that he was willing to fight without asking for extra money. Okay, because so people can say, hey, the guy was good. He was good. Now, the only bad thing about the Thailand fighter is he stood up straight. He was like a rock'em sock'em robot. He comes in, he throws hard punches, he applies pressure, but he stands up straight, straight up and down, like Mayweather would say. He didn't really have any head movement,
or
anything
artist.
like that. Yeah, he's just looking for the knockout.
He's looking for a knockout.
And credit to Roman Gonzalez, he took advantage of that. He started landing vicious body punches. He started landing punches on the inside, and he started to slow down the Thailand fighter. But you got NOE, the Japanese fighter. You have a rematch with Quadras, and then you have fighters at higher weight classes. If Roman, can't make 118 anymore, I believe he's at 118.
Hey, Kurt, I'm wondering, Kurt, what was your thoughts on that fight?
Well, actually, I was at an event coaching, so I didn't get to see that fight. I only caught the Triple G fight, but I did see some highlights, and I'm not surprised with what happened. I had a feeling like Dontae that, Roman was kind of heading towards the beginning of the end, basically, and I think the Quadros fight took a lot out of him.
Yeah,
it took a lot out of him. I will say that. And this one, but the thing is,
people have to realize, when you're moving up in weight, it's difficult, and as Dontae alluded to earlier, a lot of these guys, they rely on power as like that X factor that can get them out of trouble. And it's a little bit harder when you're moving up in weight, something that we have not seen Triple G, for example, do as of yet. So as Roman's doing that, fighting guys that are bigger, and some of them are actually more skilled than what he's used to fighting, it's going to be a more difficult struggle. I mean, I would have actually liked to have seen him rematch Juan Estrada, someone he fought 4 or 5 years ago, who gave him really good work.
But once again, guys, I mean, let's just be realistic about this. And it ain't nothing wrong with speaking the truth. It may hurt some people's feelings, but if you look at the history of boxing, just look at the history of boxing, the majority of the greatest fighters and I'm talking about of all races and nationalities, from Roy Jones to Hopkins to Chavez to Roberto Garcia to Oscar De La Hoya, Fernando Vargas, the majority of great fighters, they lost to American slick fighters. You know what I mean? And the majority of them, their first loss was to an American slick fighter. You know what I mean? So these are just facts. And the reason why I bring this up is because when it comes to Roman, he hasn't even faced a natural athletic type of fighter like Danny Jacobs or someone like that. And that right there is going to be even more difficult for him. Now, NOE is a good boxer. He has some athleticism. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he does.
So
he's fast as I don't know what.
Yeah, he's fast and he has power.
Yeah.
He has natural athleticism and he has power. So this is why Roman Gonzalez, he said, I need more money. If I'm going to fight that guy, I need more money. If I'm going to fight Kadras in a rematch, I need more money. Oh, but this Thailand fighter, I don't need extra money. I'll go ahead and fight him.
Because this to tell you the truth, I think they were looking at this as a tune-up. The Thai fighter.
And a lot of people responded to us when we said that.
I know.
They said, "Oh, that wasn't a tune-up. That guy, he gave Kadras hell, and he's a good fighder." But still,
he lost in a technical decision. I mean, hey, this dude was, but this is his only second time fighting outside of Thailand, and the first time he fought outside of Thailand, he lost to Kadras. And then he's out of his element. Mm-hmm. He's fighting somebody that is, to tell you the truth, he would have been tailor-made for Chocolatito, because he like you said, he stands straight up. He comes straight forward.
Yeah.
There's no slickness.
Yeah.
There's not a lot to his defense.
Yeah.
He was tailor-made for him. But the difference in this fight was the headbutts, in my opinion.
It was a lot of headbutts.
Oh my God, man!
It was southpaw versus conventional fighter.
Man, some of them headbutts I think was it was one of them, and it was right before Willis, my man Steve Willis. Shout out to him, man. That cat cracks me up in the ring. But it was but right before he took the point, I mean, it was Chocolatito was getting off, man. He was throwing good shots. He was on the move, and bam, headbutt. I'm like, wait a minute.
It was
I rewatched that, man. I think that was intentional. I think that was an intentional butt, man. So? I think that was that one was intentional.
Okay, I got to go back and watch it.
That one was intentional, man.
I got to go back and watch it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
have you guys watched the Manny Pacquiao versus Agapito Sanchez fight?
Yeah, a fight that Agapito was up on the scorecards when they actually stopped the fight. At least one judge had him winning the fight. But go ahead. Yeah, it was a lot of headbutts in that fight.
DJ Star got something for us.
That was a foul-infested match, and it sounds like this match with Gonzalez.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't as bad as that one. That the Agapito Sanchez. Rest in peace, by the way, Agapito Sanchez. But that one was far worse. This one wasn't that bad. Oh. It was probably about 3 or 4 solid headbutts. But the only thing is, it caused a cut on Roman Gonzalez. But see, the thing is, Roman Gonzalez actually started winning more rounds after he got headbutted. He got headbutted
3 times.
But he did better after that, though. He started winning because he was losing. He was losing before the headbutts.
And
before the headbutts, he was losing.
This is what I could not understand. 2 of the judges gave Yuget. I can't pronounce him name. Rungasai, I think it is. Rungvitsai.
Call him Socket,
man. They gave my man Socket rounds 7 through 11. All the 2 judges gave him 7 through 11, and
they gave the Thailand fighter 7 through 11.
7 through 11, and
Wow.
then they gave
Wow.
and the other judge that didn't, he gave him 4 of those 5 rounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 And so I'm like, hold on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but it is weird because you do sometimes wonder what would be the motive though to you know just purposely rob Roman Gonzalez. I mean, everything is in his favor. It's a K2 Promotions card. He's a K2 fighter. I mean, this guy is not a name, so there's no reason to rob him so that they could create a rematch or anything like that. I mean, it just makes you wonder why would they rob him, or were they just I don't know, man.
I don't know
just
what
don't know
they
what
were
it was.
watching in this fight. I have no idea.
Well, someone put on here that they think that the judges were scoring based off of
The blood,
the blood,
and gore,
and the
who was,
headbutts.
Yeah.
Oh, off of the headbutts.
So I mean, I guess
headbutts are a legal blow now. They legal now. It's legal to butt a man and have him bleeding like a stuck hog.
I guess some judges probably do look at who looks more damaged and stuff like that. That obviously doesn't make sense because if you went to judging school, they would tell you don't base things off of how the crowd is reacting, how the fighter's face looks. Some dude sent me a message defending Golovkin saying, well, look at Danny Jacobs' face and look at Gennady Golovkin's face. And you know what I said to him? I said, okay, go watch Pacquiao versus Clottey. Pacquiao's face was completely smashed. Matter of fact, Pacquiao's face looked the worst in that fight than any fight we've seen him in probably the last 10 years. His face was wrecked in the Clottey fight. And Clottey didn't even hardly throw any punches in the fight.
Yeah, I know.
So are you saying that Clottey won the fight just because of how Pacquiao's face looked? It doesn't make sense.
It does not make sense.
Let's take
some
another.
Some people swell up.
Yeah, some people swell up. Rocky Balboa, man. Look at how his face looked. And he win all his damn fights, right?
Hey.
Let's go to take another call, man. Let me see who we got over here. We got 518. What's your name? Where you calling from, family?
Yo, what's up? I'm calling from Albany.
Albany. All right. We got New York is in deep tonight. What's going on, man?
Shit, chilling. Yeah, you probably don't remember me, but I called a couple months back and I told you about how you had said Kell Brook would be Golovkin's biggest competition.
Yeah, I remember you. Yep, you pulled that out.
Right. But
sure.
I disagree with y'all on that. Jacobs, I don't see how y'all say he didn't do enough in certain instances.
I didn't say he didn't do enough to win. I just feel he could have did more to where he could have won by a wider margin. That's all I'm saying.
Or it wouldn't have been within question.
I don't really agree with that because he beat that man up, man. He did. He beat him up, man. He just plain beat him down, man.
Yeah. No, hey.
In my opinion.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And it's hard to jump on Triple G like that because he catch you with one and you out of there. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be cautious. And I just don't get how y'all can say he didn't do enough, or I mean, you didn't say that specifically, but how you could say he could have did more. But at the same time, Mayweather hasn't had knockouts in years. But he can, He can landslide.
But it's not about.
Just like in my opinion.
I got you.
Like in my opinion, how Daniel Jacobs landslided Triple G yesterday.
But see,
you know what I'm saying? And it doesn't always have to be a knockout.
No. It didn't have to be a knockout.
Should have been, or maybe should have been, or had to be a knockout because it was Triple G. It's a big name. But like the other homie was saying, how could you watch that fight and say that Triple G, won that? I don't understand it. I'm just so disgusted with that right now.
Dude, and let me just say this to clear it up. When it comes, we're not talking about, he didn't get the knockout, he didn't get the knockdown. What I'm saying is if you comparing him to Floyd, since you brought up Floyd, when Floyd Mayweather is winning a fight, he's still over you. Look at how he walked down a much bigger Canelo Alvarez. He walked him down, and he was the one that was the aggressor in the whole fight. All I'm saying is when you have an opponent like Golovkin who freezes up when you attack him, me and Milton were watching the fight live, and I told you already, I'm rooting for USA. I don't care what nobody say. That's what you're supposed to do, because that's what other countries do. That's what other countries do. But we get it. You know, they get mad when we say it. But
only here.
You think you're gonna go to the Philippines and see Filipinos mad because another Filipino is rooting for Manny Pacquiao? You know what I'm saying?
Or England or London.
Yeah, they're not gonna do it, man. So me and Milton, we watching the fight, and I'm jumping up watching, and because I see Jacobs, he catches Golovkin with a counter punch, with a combination, and then once again, like we said earlier in the show, Golovkin jumps back and he just guards. He just does this. Like he's waiting for it to be over. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm sitting over here yelling at the TV, and I'm saying to Milt, like, man, Jacob should jump on him with one more combination just to seal the deal, because this man is not going to counter you. And that's the only problem I had, man. Because all I'm saying is they was looking for every reason to give the fight to Gennady Golovkin. You know what I mean? So
why give it to him?
Yeah, so why don't let no rounds be close? Like Nate Campbell, I was talking to him last night, and he told me, a guy told him, I gave Golovkin all the rounds that were close. And he was like, well, why you do that? And I said to Nate, well, that just means that they were desperately looking for rounds to give to Golovkin. That's what that basically translates.
But I'll say this, man. And it wasn't necessarily.
There's some guys saying that different from. That's like totally different from that Kovalev Andre Ward fight. That fight was a lot closer to me than the Triple G Jacobs fight.
I agree. I agree. I actually said that at the beginning of the show. I don't know if that was off air, but I agree with you on that one. This one was more clear cut. Hey, Kurt, you had a comment, Kurt?
I was gonna. Man, what was I gonna say?
I was trying to say, Miss Boxing Baby still here?
Kurt. Oh, it's all good.
Go ahead, Kurt.
I'm trying to remember what I was gonna say. Shit.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
It'll come back.
But I want to say this, and I can understand people feeling like that too. And the thing is, with me, I just think that I think Jacobs is thinking today, man, I think I could have done more. I think he knows that.
Yeah, he may not say it, but he may
not say it, man. But I'm telling you, he knows that he could have done more. And I'll put it like this: in defense of the judges, which I hate to do, sometimes when it's that close fight, when it's a close round, and they looking for something to hold on to, they're looking at, hey, who's the champion? And they're going to say, hey, did he do enough in this round right here to win it over the champion? If it's a close round, and they're trying to decide on which way they want to go, because they're not going to make it a 10-10.
I agree with that to a certain degree.
They're not going to make it a 10-10.
To a certain degree, I don't, because I think it was just more than that, period. Like somebody said earlier, it was Jacobs was going to lose that fight, period, no matter what.
To me,
Triple G, man. And did you hear that? How Jim Lampy was like, one of the judges worked for HBO before, and he was like, yeah, I trust that they'll judge the fight real good. Like, what the fuck?
What?
Working for HBO?
Yeah. They don't put their names on here, because I can't remember, because they just have yellow, white, blue. What's that?
But
I mean, it kind of like discourages casual people from watching boxing.
It does. It really does. It really does, man.
It's like, we know who won, but when you go to that box rec, what it's gonna say? You know what I'm saying? So
they got the judge's name. It's Max DeLuca,
man.
And it only happens.
Well, and people like in the comment section, like in different YouTube videos, are saying, well, Jacobs didn't do enough because in order to beat the champ, you have to beat him decisively. But they're forgetting that Jacobs in this fight was also a champion.
That's a good point.
WBA.
That's a good
regular
point.
Champion.
That is a good point.
And what about Mayweather versus De La Hoya? That was way closer than this fight when Mayweather was going up against De La Hoya.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah, man.
It's fucked up, man.
It is, but
I had an 8-4 for Jacobs, but I do see what Dontae and Milton and others are saying. I mean, I had Jacobs clearly winning, but he. Like, sometimes, I think it was like round 7 or might have been round 8, one of those rounds where he was dominating, the first minute and a half, maybe even 2 minutes, and then, like, he caught, like, 2 uppercuts. And I don't think he was hurt, or, like, he was, like, dancing around and shit, and it's like, you can't be doing that because
he gave that round.
But what about that 10th or 11th round when Daniel Jacobs started getting with him, and, like, the other dude mentioned that dog pounding, Jacob's like, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, but that's the thing that,
man,
hey,
period, man.
hey,
So,
check.
I love seeing that shit.
But check it, fam.
Right,
That's
I was. Know, man.
That's one of the reasons why I was looking to make sure. But the judges gave him 10, 11, and 12, except for one judge. He gave him 10 and 11.
And I don't even know how they.
That's because that might be because they already knew that Golovkin had enough rounds to win the fight. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe the judges felt, well, let's go ahead and just give Jacobs all these rounds so it'll look a little closer. It won't look ridiculous on the scorecards because the margin was wide, man. What were the, here, let me see this again. What were the scores? So they had 114, 113, 115, 112, 115, 112.
And the difference in that was the knockdown. That could have been one. That would have been 114.
And that knockdown was bullshit.
You don't think that was a real knockdown?
Because I want a certain person to win. You know what I'm saying? But
and at least you've been honest. Unlike a decaf, you know. So go ahead.
Right.
Wait a minute now.
That knockdown to me. I mean, it was kind of a knockdown, kind of wasn't, but it wasn't.
But the score.
I don't know, fam. That was a clear knockdown.
No, it was a clear knockdown. He just said he
wasn't hurt. It was a knockdown, but it wasn't like
he wasn't really hurt.
He wasn't hurt. No, it was a flash knockdown.
But those scorecards. But those scorecards show that even if Danny didn't get knocked down, they still would have gave the fight to Gennady Golovkin.
Right.
Only one judge would have had the fight for Golovkin, right? The 114-113 card.
Yeah,
that would have been
a draw.
It would have been reversed. It would have been it would have been reversed 114-113, right? For Jacobs, if they would have reversed it. Oh, if he would have won the round,
right?
If Jacobs would have won the round, they would have had him up by 1 point. But the other two judges would have still had Golovkin winning the fight. So that just goes to show you they had no intentions of doing the right thing, as far as I'm concerned.
The rounds that I think where Triple G got ahead, he got out ahead somewhere in between rounds 1 through 5. I think that he was coming forward, he was applying pressure, he was pumping the jab, and I think that's what put him out ahead. But if Jacobs had started sooner, and I know, like you said, he got to be a little bit cautious coming out of there because you don't want to get caught. But I think that he kind of let Triple G kind of set the tone of the fight early, and then that got away from him. But if he had started boxing like he did in the second half of the fight, earlier in the fight, I think that's what I mean by I think he left money on the table. And I think that he is thinking today that, man, I definitely could have seized that moment and made it very clear.
I think we got to agree to disagree on this.
Sure.
I mean,
as long as
I think he came out, man. I mean, you know, he was solid the whole time to me, man.
Hey, and as long as we agree, you know, that we all agree that Danny Jacobs won the fight. I mean, even if we didn't agree that, you know, and somebody thought that Golovkin won the fight, that's fine too. But anyway, bro, hey, I'm gonna let you go, man, because I'm hunting for the decals right now. Trying to get one of these decals on the phone right now.
Man.
You know,
oh yeah, man. I was supposed to be out there, man, but my fucking dog died, man.
Oh man, sorry to hear that.
Man. You, Ego, all of them, yeah, man. But shit, yeah, man. Y'all take it easy, man. Good
take
to talk
it easy.
Y'all,
all right, family. Take care, man.
All right.
And hey, everybody in the comment section, man, when you see a decaf talking, I want all y'all to tell him to call in. Tell him to call in, man. I want everybody, tell the decaf in the chat room if there are any, because, you know, once again, DJ Star, she's monitoring the chat room right now. You know, we don't really have time to look at it right now.
A lot of great fans on here, Dontae.
Oh, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And for all the people that's holding it down.
Someone's, you know, wrote like, what is a decaf? And I mean, like, a zillion motherfuckers like responded, oh, you know.
Yeah. Education. They getting that education over here. They getting that education 1-on-1 over here. So yeah, that's cool, man.
So you got a lot of love on here.
Hey.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. I know we get a lot of love. I mean, even the decafs love me. They be the first people to comment when I upload a video. I could upload a video 3:00 in the morning, and the decaf be the first person to say something. You bastard, Dontae, and I'll be like, yeah. And sometime I reply every now and then and surprise them, and I'll be like, what do you disagree with? And then they get shocked I reply, and you know what? Sometimes they'll say, Well, no, Dontae. I mean, a lot of stuff you say makes sense, and I really love your channel. I've been watching since day one. It's just this. It's just this. I said, no, but that's fine. All that is cool, but tell me what I said you disagree with. Then they start changing the subject. Oh, well, it's just, Golovkin is a good fighter and this and that. No, what do you disagree with? They never answer the question. Anyway, let's take another call, man. Let's go ahead and take another call.
Yeah.
We got 250, man. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, it's Dana from British Columbia, Canada.
What's going on, Dana? What's good with you, man?
I saw the Triple G versus Jacobs fight. I just wanted to say, first of all, that not only is HBO, wrong for robbing, a black man, but that happens all the time. That's nothing, strange. But robbing a cancer survivor, I don't even know on how, but I don't even like to use the N-word a lot because I don't like to give white people fire to use back. However, what does a nigga got to do, you know what I mean, in boxing to get his due respect? It's a little wild.
Man.
But I just wanted to ask, if there was one thing you could pick out, what was the one thing that Jacobs did right in that match to win? And in the Roman Gonzalez fight, I know you gave Roman the fight, but if there was one thing that you could pick out of his opponent of what he did right against Gonzalez, that would be good. And those are my questions for this week.
Okay, so you're saying what did the Thailand fighter do good in the fight, and what did Danny Jacobs do? Right? Is that what you said?
Yes,
okay.
That's correct.
Well, I'll start with the first one. I believe what Danny Jacobs did. First of all, he came in the fight with confidence to win the fight, something a lot of fighters don't do when they go against Gennady Golovkin. They usually get hit and they fold up like David Lemieux did. He also controlled distance very well.
That's one thing I was going to say.
He controlled distance. He nullified Golovkin's attack by basically keeping him at bay. And and something he also did was he stayed off the ropes. And just the fact
he did that a lot.
Yeah, just the fact he imposed his power and his size on Golovkin, something Golovkin was not used to doing. And he had a great defense as well. So those were the keys to him basically winning the fight. And awesome. As far as the Thailand fighter, it's kind of similar once again to the hold on, we got distracted over here. Somebody just came in the studio. But anyway, it was kind of similar to the Golovkin situation. And what that basically is once again, these fighters like Golovkin and Roman Gonzalez, they are not used to facing guys that have similar size and power that they have. Guys that are willing to fight with confidence. Guys are willing, they're willing to fight back. That was the first time we seen someone actually push Roman back, right? We've never seen Roman back up against anyone.
Right.
No one has ever been able to back him up. But because this guy's size, his power, his confidence, that's the way he fights. And he was a southpaw on top of all of that. That presented a lot of problems for Roman Gonzalez. And like I said before, I truly believe this is the beginning of the end for Roman Gonzalez. I'm not trying to say he's as bad of a fighter as Brandon Rios, and that's no diss to Brandon. That's no diss to Brandon. Shout out to Brandon. But at the same time, I feel that Roman Gonzalez, his career is kind of going down the same path that Brandon Rios' career went down, let me explain. Milt. They both came out like lions. Remember when Brandon Rios was undefeated? He beat Anthony Peterson. Anthony Peterson was looking like the future at the time. Yeah. He ran over Anthony Peterson, something I didn't expect. That was very impressive.
I would say, I was impressed by that.
He looked like a lion at the time. He was like the Roman Gonzalez at that time.
Right.
And then slowly but surely, he started to become unraveled as the competition got better. He had that controversial decision against Richard Abreu, right? And then after that, he started to slowly descend. And then the better the competition got, the more he became exposed. This is what's happening to Roman Gonzalez. This is what's happening because flat-footed fighters flat-footed, aggressive fighters that come forward, they often don't last. They don't last that long in the sport of boxing unless they have a tremendous defense, like or they're versatile, like a Errol Spence.
So it's just they take too much damage, or
they take too much damage. They take too much damage, but not only just the damage.
I will say this,
but their kryptonite is just athletic, boxers with agility, with speed and all that kind of stuff. That's their kryptonite. And that's just common sense right there.
Roman is not the slickest. He was slicker than the guy last night. You know what I mean? He was much better boxer.
I wouldn't even say slicker. I just think he was a better fighter.
He's a better fighter.
He's more accurate.
Slicker is not the right term.
Yeah, he's more accurate with his punches.
He is.
He still has the power. He knows how to throw punches and bunches. Like I was telling you last night, the Thailand fighter was relying, like most southpaws do, he was mainly relying on his left hand.
Yeah, he was.
Roman was landing punches with both hands.
He
was hitting this dude from every different angle.
He throws beautiful combinations.
He throws beautiful combinations, no doubt about it.
He does. But to say he's just straight flat-footed, I think he can
move.
Oh,
he's flat-footed, bro.
He moves. He moves aggressively. He moves nicely. I like how he slides in. I mean,
he's good at cutting off the ring.
He is.
I mean, he's good at cutting off the ring. But I'm just saying,
he's not dancing on his toes, but he's not. I don't think he's flat-footed. I don't think he's just a.
When I say flat-footed, what I basically mean is he is tailor-made for a great boxer. That's what a great boxer wants you to do. Typical bull versus matador.
Yeah, I can see that.
You want him to run straight into the cape, and so you can move out the way. You know what I mean? That's what you want him to do.
Yeah.
He does what you want him to do. He's just really good at throwing punches and bunches, and he has a lot of power. But now, since he moved up in weight, he no longer has that major power advantage because now the power
this is the
almost
thing.
equalized.
I think that you're discounting, though, is that this is his fourth title at 4 different weight classes.
But against who?
He has moved up in weight.
But
other champions, obviously.
Yeah, but it can't just it can't just be.
I don't know, man. I just don't think we don't give the man enough love. I think because he's fighting at 118, we was fighting at 115, 118. At the lower weight classes, they just don't get a lot of love.
We talked about this, but once again, Milt, he has not beat any other fighters that were on the pound for pound list. If he was beating other small guys on that list, then you could say, he deserves to be number, top 3 or something like that. But he's never beat any other fighter on that list. He's never been in a fight where you'd be like, wow.
Let me tell you, man.
He's never been in a Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman fight. He's never been in a Ward Kovalev fight before.
What you think, Kurt?
Go ahead, Kurt.
Well, also, his 2 biggest victories, arguably Quadras and Estrada, there's question marks.
Yes.
They were very close fights.
Absolutely.
You can make arguments for either fighter.
True.
And we did not see a rematch.
I said something similar to Milt about that the other day.
I think he clearly beat Quadras. I do. I mean, I think it was a close fight, but I think he clearly won the fight.
I mean, but did you see the punishment he took? And when I say look at his face, I'm talking about punches we've seen him getting hit with. It wasn't just like the Pacquiao-Clottey fight where Pacquiao's face looked smashed, but he was winning the fight. In this fight, he was getting pummeled in some of those rounds by Quadras.
He was.
And see, Kirk, what you just said is kind of what I said to Milt the other day when we had this discussion. I said, when you step up in competition and you struggle against your competition, it says to me you're not on the level of some of the pound-for-pound fighters. Now, I can understand if you went in there with a Kovalev, you went in there with a Lomachenko, you went in there with an Errol Spence, and you barely won the fight. That's different because that's understandable. But when you go in there with a Thailand fighter, I can't even pronounce his name, when you go in there with Carlos Quadras, who's good, but he's not pound-for-pound one of the best fighters, and you struggle against these guys, what's going to happen when you go in there with a pound-for-pound fighter? That is the question right there. But, hey, Canada, man, I want to say thanks for your time, man. We're going to go ahead and get to the next one, all right, man?
Thank you. Appreciate it. Love the show.
Thank you, man. Take care, man. Okay, so that was Canada, BC. Shout out to BC. But yeah, man, I mean, that's pretty much how I see it, man. Something else, Kirk, I wanted to ask you this, and of course, I'm going to answer my own question when I ask you the question. But Kirk, some fans in defense, since we can't get y'all to call in, since y'all so afraid, I'll go ahead and relay the message. But Kirk, some of the fans that are defending Golovkin, they're saying it wasn't Golovkin looked flawed in this fight or exposed. It was just the fight. It was just the fact that Danny Jacobs was better than people thought. What do you say to people who say that?
No, I mean, Danny Jacobs is one of the first upper elite fighters at middleweight that he's fought. And even let's look at Willie Monroe, for example, who called in earlier. Mm-hmm. And no disrespect to him, like he moved up from junior middleweight to middleweight. He wasn't really clearly an established middleweight at the time.
Yeah.
When he fought Triple G,
you on point.
And he didn't have the experience yet. I mean, he's still developing as a fighter, still growing into that weight class. And the way he was fighting was giving Triple G some looks. And as we've seen throughout the years, Triple G is slowly but surely stepping up his level of opposition, and we see more flaws being exposed. Not to say that he's a bad fighter, but it's just highlighting that, maybe he isn't as great as ESPN and HBO limits. And other critics want to project.
Ain't no maybe to it. But hey, Kirk, see, that's why I like the fact that I just threw a question to you that we didn't even talk about, Kirk, and you responded the exact way I answered my own question when I seen someone ask me that question. The first thing I thought about was Willie Monroe. I said to myself, well, no, because see, this is the thing, guys, you have to understand. If there is a pattern where you are making the same mistakes against different type of fighters at different levels, then no, it's not Jacobs was just way better than we thought, because just like you just said, Kirk, he made the same mistakes against Willie Monroe, who only had 6 knockouts. He made the same mistakes against Kell Brook, who was a welterweight. And now he's making the same mistakes against Danny Jacobs. So, no, it's not the fact that Golovkin or Jacobs was just so much better than people thought. It's the fact that these are the flaws that Golovkin has, and he's going to have these flaws for the rest of his career. So,
and I'll say this, though. I mean, Jacobs is as good as I thought he was. And I knew that Jacobs could fight. Mm-hmm. I just didn't know. And he answered the question about his chin. Mm-hmm. He took the shot. He got dropped, but hey, he bounced back. He got up off the canvas, and he fought a beautiful fight. So I give him credit on that. But I will say this. I don't think that I don't think Triple G made the exact same mistakes that he made against Kell Brook. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I don't think he really respected Kell Brook because you can tell he wasn't getting hit with the shots that Kell Brook hit him with last night against Jacobs, and he was not going to get hit by those same shots. Well, because if he had,
he was moving away a lot more from Danny Jacobs. He wasn't close enough.
Definitely.
Because Kell Brook was able to land them uppercuts. The Jacobs didn't land them because he didn't get close enough to land them.
Triple G just stood right there in the pocket. But again, it was the thing of him not throwing or countering while Kell Brook is throwing. So Kell Brook kept his hands at home and was
I'm gonna tell you,
bombarding him with punches, but he did not do. It wasn't the same fight. He fought him differently from the way that he fought.
Well, when I say we seeing the same type of flaws, Milt, what I'm talking about is once again his timing, his lack of transitioning from defense to offense.
Okay,
that is something we see in every fight.
Yeah,
any person who is willing to step on the gas and jump on him and in spurts, he freezes up.
Yeah,
he did it against Brook. He did it against Willie Monroe, who had no power, and he did it last night against Danny Jacobs, and that's going to really cost him when he steps up in competition. Beyond a Danny Jacobs. Let's try to take another call real quick, guys.
Gotcha.
We have 443. What's going on, man? What's your name and where you calling from?
Can't believe Baltimore, Maryland.
All right.
Be more.
What's going on, man? What's on your mind?
Hey, no, I want to talk about the Danny Jacobs versus Triple G fight.
Okay. What about it?
Yeah, Danny Jacobs won that fight, only gave Triple G 3 rounds. That's 4, 7, and 9.
Oh, he got the rounds. He got the rounds down pack. Okay,
wow.
That's okay. So those are the rounds you gave him.
Also, Jacobs every time he do a combination have Triple G freezing. My thing about Jacobs was once Golovkin started jabbing with him, he just started doing feints to freeze him up some more.
Yeah,
which he didn't do.
Yeah, he didn't feint enough. I agree. I agree with you on that. And you're right. The feints would have opened up way more combinations. It would have opened up way
exactly.
more. If he was worried, because that's what it looked to me. It looked to me like Danny, even though Danny was winning a lot of those rounds, it looked like Danny was afraid to be first because he was afraid of getting caught with something. But he didn't realize if he would have set up feints, that would have put Golovkin in a defensive posture, and that would have left openings for Jacobs to let his hands go a little bit more. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. Also, what he should have did was I had a problem with switching lefty, but he should have waited on that to like the second half of the fight when Golovkin slowed down a little bit.
Yeah,
I can go with that too.
That way, if he missed a step, it was easy for him to get out the way from a punch from him.
Yeah.
So by Golovkin still had his legs and still have his speed the way he did have, it's easy for him to react to his lefty style.
Yeah, but I think the reason he did it, he wanted to show him angles and different looks early on in the fight, just to kind of throw Triple G off, just to let him know, hey, I can work from a different angle, from a different stance, and just to see if he could catch him slipping, trying to adjust to it. So I can understand why he switched to it early, but I can go with what you're saying also. You know what I mean? I just giving you what I think his mentality was. But I hated him doing it the entire fight anyway. But if he was gonna do it, I wish he would have done it later on in the fight. Yeah.
Right.
All right, man. Well, hey, I'm gonna let you go, bro. We about to wrap it up in a little bit. I'm gonna try to take a couple more calls. Try to take as many calls as I can before we wrap it up real quick. Thanks, man. Take care, man.
Yeah.
All right. So
I know you got another caller coming in, but
Go ahead.
he just reminded me, our boy Hassim Rahman, his son Hassim Rahman Jr. going to be making his pro debut.
We got to get him in the studio, man.
Yeah, we got to. Yeah, I'd love to have both him and Junior in the studio, man. So shout out to Hassim and Hassim Jr., man, and good luck on your pro debut.
Is it this weekend?
I think it's next week coming up. Yeah,
okay.
I think it is.
Yeah, we're going to try. We're going to definitely try to get him. Matter of fact, Hassim, he was actually supposed to do the show a couple weeks ago. And
business trip.
Yeah, he did a business trip. So we trying to get that in motion. The former heavyweight champion in the world. Yeah, man, that's what that is. Matter of fact, is there any? We don't have any major fights coming up this week, do we? We didn't check the schedule.
Yeah, it's one or two coming up this week. We got on the 23rd. It's not a major fight, but Glenn Tapia, man, I'm looking for this kid to do something. He's fighting a kid named Jason Quigley. And so Glenn Tapia, man, he got to show and prove if he doesn't sometime soon, man.
Shouts out to my man Glenn Tapia, man.
Yeah.
He was real cool to interview, man, when he came out here to the Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
And I love when a boxer's not a decaf as well. So,
but the week after that is Jorge Linares and Anthony Crolla.
Oh yeah. Okay. Hey, you know what? We got to go ahead. We just found out 713. We about to open up the phone line to 713. We heard we might have a decaf on the line. I'm gonna be real, man, because that's what they calling this man in the chat room. We got 713, man. What's going on? Where you calling from? What's your name, man?
What Dontae Box Nation? I'm from Houston.
What's good with you? Because
Houston, where they rap a lot.
Yeah, man. What's on your mind, man?
Informed debate,
What's that?
And we up for it too.
What'd you say?
I just want an informed debate.
Okay.
We got that all day long.
Hey, that's what's up, man. I'm happy you called in, man. Go ahead. What's on your mind?
So, I had Triple G up by 1 point. I mean, it's really debated by the knockdown. I felt like GGG kind of he was rocking Jacob's head back with those jabs, and he was kind of, to me, he was outworking him,
Okay. And real quick, let me cut you off real quick before you go, because I want to just say to everybody, for the record, I'm not trying to say whoever thought Golovkin won the fight is a decaf. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Right.
I'm talking about the ignorant people who say ridiculous stuff that makes no logical sense.
Right.
So far, what he said, what you just said right now, I don't have a problem with you saying.
I have no problem with
that he won by 1 point.
Yeah,
you know?
That's not decaf territory.
Yeah.
I'm
a
trying
1
to do
point
it
win.
informed. I'm like,
Yeah. But just stay on your toes now.
Yeah.
Don't just stay on your toes now. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Keep going, man. Keep going.
You prove me wrong, but
No, go ahead.
I was watching the fight last night on Instagram Live, so
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get the best angle, but
Yeah.
I feel like a different camera angle would have been a lot.
Let me
better,
ask you this: if you were Golovkin's trainer after his performance, what would you say to Golovkin after his performance? Like, what would you say to him after that performance if you were his trainer?
I'll probably fire myself and become a new trainer.
Hey, let's get Abel on the phone, bro. Let's get Abel.
Fire myself.
He said, "I will fire myself."
Hey,
wow.
Hey, Abel.
Hey, so we gonna have to get Abel on the show, man.
Yeah.
But see, that's what I like when the real stuff come out.
No, but I'm not actually like serious, but I'm kind of joking. You know?
Yeah,
No, of course,
we know
it's
that,
all
man.
good. But the point I'm making is, you see how you said you picked Golovkin, which is okay. You picked Golovkin, but you said you would fire yourself because you still feel Golovkin, he made a lot of mistakes and he could have done a lot more. You feel that? That's obviously what you mean when you say that, right?
Yeah, I feel like both fighters made mistakes and they could have capitalized on the opportunity.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree with that.
Whichever man, capitalized on the mistake.
Yeah, I mean, well,
in essence, what you're saying, it was a good close fight. In essence, what you're saying, it was a good close fight.
He could have really capitalized when Golovkin was, covered up and
exactly.
He could have been ripping into the body, kind of mixing it up,
I totally agree. I totally agree with that.
Golovkin, he could have been stepping on the pressure,
Mm-hmm.
I just like a good fight, I just like to see, some battles and boxing.
Let me ask you this, man. Who wins? Who wins Golovkin versus Canelo? Who wins?
I feel like Jacobs is a different animal than Canelo, so GGG will beat Canelo. That's what I feel.
Okay.
No, right.
Fair.
Mm-hmm.
What about
it's a 50-50.
Yeah, what about Golovkin versus Jamal Charlo?
Charlo, ooh.
All right, you from Texas.
You from that work.
You from Texas?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Go ahead.
I think he could possibly outbox Triple G. I feel like he could do that.
Yeah. I'm picking Jamal to win that fight. I mean, I agree with you.
He has a lot of cards. He has a lot of cards in his deck.
Yeah. I mean, the question is, is Jamal Charlo going to be bigger and better at a higher weight class? Is it going to be
if his power will transfer?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
time will tell.
Time will definitely tell. It'll be interesting to see his first fight.
Triple G, he's getting pretty old, so.
Yeah, I mean,
he better get these fights fast.
Yeah, and that's true.
He wants to, get some money, have good performances, better performances.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that, man. I agree with you. All right, man. Well, hey, I thank you for your call, man. We're gonna get to another one. All right.
I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Take care.
Hey, Dontae, can you break it down to like some of these people on the live chat what a decaf is? Because evidently, some of them that probably just tune in.
Yeah, we got some new.
Really know. And,
okay.
Because they're saying like if you disagree with Dontae, then
Okay, let's break it down.
No.
Let's break it down.
Evidently, that's not true.
Decaf obviously stands for dumb, casual ass fan. Now that can mean a couple different things. You could just be a straight casual fan, a real casual fan who, maybe you just start watching boxing. You probably think that Floyd Mayweather is a heavyweight, and you like, man, when is he going to fight Tyson? You'll say some stupid stuff like that. That's the casual aspect of being a decaf, which we didn't heard. I didn't heard people say, hey, man, well, is Roy Jones ever going to fight Kobe Bryant? Say some stupid stuff like that. That's casual decaf type stuff right there. Also, a decaf can also just be a flat out racist. He can be a racist where everything is based on emotion. It's not based on boxing. It's all based on emotion. You know, you go off of who your favorite fighter is as opposed to, you know, what logically makes sense. Or maybe you personally hate someone, so you allow that to cloud your vision to where you're no longer talking boxing. Like, once again, if you hate Andre Ward so much, or you hate Floyd Mayweather so much that all you keep talking about is how much you hate him, and you give him no credit, even though you wish that there was a fighter that you actually like who was as dominant as that guy. You know what I mean? So being a decaf, yeah, it's a range of things. You could either just be a casual fan that doesn't really follow the sport that much, or you could just be a racist that's basing everything on emotional attachments. So that's really what it comes down to.
And then also making outlandish, like my man just called in saying that, hey, he thought that Triple G won by 1 point. Now that's, you know, hey, you know, if he called in talking about he thinking Triple G pitched a shutout and he won all 12 rounds just because it's Triple G and Jacobs didn't do anything in the fight, then you casually watching, you only root for Triple G. It's obvious.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, when you come making some outlandish statement that just is not based in any fact or whatsoever, other than just your, you know, love for, you know, your own love for a fighter, you know, then that's something different.
Exactly. That's what it is, man. That's what it is.
I wanted to bring to your guys' attention really quick. Abel Sanchez, he was pretty happy with the performance with Golovkin.
Oh, he was happy.
An article on boxing.
But you know what? But you know what, Kirk? That might also be because, you know, we kind of basically jumped on the fact that after the Kell Brook fight, Abel Sanchez, when they asked him how did this fighter do, he said, "Oh, I gave him like I think he gave him he said 4 out of 10 or something like that."
Yeah.
And Golovkin said, "I gave myself a 3 out of 10." And we jumped on that and we quoted them at what they said. So now they're probably feeling like, you know what, we ain't gonna give them no more satisfaction. You know what I mean? I'm gonna say he did this and he did that. But you just heard what the other caller just said. See, this is why I love to have people call in and try to challenge what we're saying, because even though he said he picked Golovkin to win, or he said Golovkin won the fight, he was forced to be a little honest when I asked him that question, right? When I asked him, what would you say to Golovkin, or what would you do after that fight? He said, I would fire myself. That means he's admitting Golovkin did not look good at all. He feels that Golovkin looked like a flawed fighter. And that's a guy who said that he thought Golovkin won the fight. So the truth came out. Yeah. The truth came out when I asked him that question right there. You feel me?
But I'll say this, though. If they're saying that they're satisfied with the fight and Triple G, is obvious to me, looked like he was not necessarily going for a knockout of Danny Jacobs. I think that they really and truly were scared of this fight, and they thought that they possibly could lose it.
Oh yeah.
And I think this is the first time that I've seen Triple G fight in a manner where he just wanted to make sure he tried to win the fight. You know, do what he got to do just to win the fight, instead of going in there trying to walk through somebody. And he knew what he was facing.
And Milton, what's so crazy about you saying that is, you remember I told you early in the fight, it looked like Danny was more focused on not getting hit than hitting Golovkin.
Right.
But in the second half, it looked like Golovkin was more concerned about not getting hit, not getting hurt with something, as opposed to hurting Danny Jacobs. And like my man said, who called in, he said it, man. He said it looked like Danny Jacobs was Golovkin. It looked like it was the other way around. And that's exactly how it looked in that fight, man. So as you see this,
because Danny was applying the pressure.
Yeah. As you guys see, this Golovkin-Jacobs fight has dominated the conversation the whole hour and a half we've been doing this.
Right.
So let's take another call. Okay, we got 334. What's going on, man? What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's good, Dontae? It's Anthony calling up out of Alabama.
Alabama?
What's good?
All right.
Yeah.
Save me some of that barbecue out there, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I've been listening to you for a minute. I mean, I love your boxing channel and everything you do.
Appreciate
you know what I'm saying? I'm a Golovkin fan, but it's kind of hard being a black Golovkin fan because it seems like the racism is like ridiculous.
Hey, that's
like I cannot defend it when I'm like yeah, Triple G, he's hot, but I'm like, wait a minute, the dude next to you, he up here here come the ends and flying. Like, wait a minute, hold on, I'm a fan, but
I'm with
it
y'all.
make it hard to be a black Triple G fan.
Hey, you brought up a good point. You brought up a really, really good point. You heard what he just said, Milt? And that's what these racist decafs don't understand. They sit over here whenever, and this is why I say boxing is based on race. Whenever you have a fighter who looks straight white, like a Golovkin, and he's going against black fighters, and just like Lemieux versus Stevens last weekend, I told everybody I was going to do a video on this. When Lemieux knocked out Curtis Stevens, half of the comments was about race, and they were celebrating. It was like they were so happy to see a white guy knock out a black guy. I had comments like, yeah, hashtag Black Lives Splatter. And you know, these black Negroes, you know, they have low IQs and no chin. And
It's crazy. It reminds me back of like when if you remember like Jack Johnson back in the day, like in New York, when all the black people was in the top of the row and the white people down at the bottom, and every time like the white fighter hit them, they go crazy, and the black people on top. I'm like, it's like, because I've like seen some of the white boxing like channels. Everyone like they talk delusionally racist like it's cool, but I will also say this: some of the people that support on your channel, some of the most delusional people you don't want to say. We got people up here saying, if for you to see an 8-4 fight for Jacobs, that means you gave him every close round. That was it was a good fight. If you're a boxing fan, it was a close fight. So, but to sit up here and say, oh, it was a whitewash, oh, it was a landslide. I mean, really? I mean, come on. If you remember Winky White, right? You remember Winky?
Of course.
Winky White, when Winky White was fighting, I'll be the first one to say Triple G does not fight good going backwards, period. He blocks and then he just sits there. And it can be incredibly aggravating. But a lot of the times if you watch the fight, I know you say you watched the fight once. When you watch the fight on the replay, every time Danny Jacobs, he'll throw a 3-punch combination, which he was. He was throwing a lot of 3-punch combinations. It was getting blocked most of the time. He wasn't hitting, the crowd was going crazy, but he was blocking most of it. When you would watch Winky White fight, it was hard to like judge it, because I remember when he fought Jermaine Taylor and Bernard Hopkins, it was like all his fights would be really, really close because he blocked so much, and then he would wait till you stop punching, then he would punch you. See what I'm saying? And if you watch that fight,
he did the same thing.
And he would block. He would just sit there and block, and he would wait till you stop punching, and then he would punch. Then he would throw the jab. The jab, even Danny Jacobs said out of his mouth in the press conference, his jab was the cleanest punch. The cleanest punch that was fought throughout the whole fight was Triple G jab. Now, he was throwing those 3-punch combinations, but his jab was the clearest punch. Next clearest punch in the fight was Triple G uppercut. But I do understand, because Danny Jacobs was throwing a lot of 3-punch combinations, where Triple G would just throw one jab, bam, it clearly hits his head and slaps back. You know what I'm saying? So I do see where between that, it's a lot of objection between a person who's throwing 3-punch combinations and a person just landing one jab. See what I'm saying?
No, I agree with you. And you know what? You bring up a good point when you say Winky Wright, he comes in with the high guard, he blocks your punches. It also reminds me of Ike Corte. These are fighters that did that as well. But the difference from a Golovkin doing it and them is Winky Wright and Ike Corte, they were coming forward, blocking the shots, and soon as you stop punching, they come back with the jab, they start throwing combinations. With Gennady Golovkin, he looks uncomfortable when he's being attacked. And not only that...
Yeah, because he actually goes backwards.
He
blocks, but he goes back, so it does look worse.
But
at the end of the point, it's not throwing 3-punch combinations means you're scoring. Just because you're throwing the punches and it's like, oh, the crowd, but like, he's not landing. The punches that landed was count. That's why, I believe Winky Wright won a lot of those fights, but with that kind of high guard, I do believe Abe Sanchez told him, push the pace. You're letting this dude just throw. If Danny Jacobs would have just threw more punches, he just had to just throw. I think he would have won the fight just based off that. But I mean, for people up there saying, one dude got on here and gave the 5th round, which the 4th and the 5th, he clearly won. The first 2 rounds, Danny Jacobs won without a shadow of a doubt. Anybody that could sit up and say Triple G won any one of them the first 2 rounds, I mean, that's crazy.
Who did you give the 12th round to?
I ain't gonna lie, I didn't agree with you. You said you felt like he won the 12th. Hey, Harold HBO did feel like he wanted to 12. I did. I feel like he ran the 12 too. But you feel like he clearly. I didn't see that. I go back and look at it again.
Me too.
I didn't watch the fight twice.
I did.
I watched it. I watched it 3 times.
Me too.
I scored it 1 round for Golovkin 1 time. I could see how it could be. I mean, it's like 6 rounds. It's it's up in the air. It was a real good fight. I believe it should be a rematch. But
definitely.
he clearly won.
Ain't gonna be no rematch.
It's like really?
Ain't gonna be
Like,
no
dude, it's like it's a styles make fights. You know what I'm saying? Triple G was blocking, like going backwards. There's not. I really wish you would learn how to counter punch. But if you're not a counter puncher, it's no point of trying to do something you're not really not that good at. And Danny Jacobs does have enough punch to push you on your ass.
Absolutely.
He came out like a cruiserweight. Look how big he was.
Absolutely. And let me. Well, once again. According to Abel Sanchez, Golovkin, he knocks out cruiserweights with headgear, in sparring. So, I mean, listen, when you're considered one of the hardest punchers in the sport of boxing, we should see that type of adversity. How do you deal with a guy who's 20 pounds bigger than you? Floyd's been doing it for the last 5-10 years. You know what I mean? So, how does...
Yeah, but look at the boxing skills. Everybody, I mean, Triple G is a power puncher. He's a come first, he's a come first power puncher. I mean, he does what he do good. What he's not good at, he's just not good at. I don't think people saying, well, he's getting exposed. He had the same flaws the whole time. I mean, his flaws haven't changed.
He has.
The difference. So people like, oh, he's exposed. Exposed of what? He's been doing that since he's been a champion. Well, so that's just what he does. He has so much power. He overcame it. Now,
hold on. Let me just say something real quick. Hold on. Let me say something to that, though. What it is you can be exposed to a certain degree, right? But then you could be further exposed. It's layers to this. So what's happening is he's starting to become more and more unraveled as the competition gets better, is what we're seeing. Like you said, I mean, you could go all the way back to the Kasim Uma fight, and you could say he was exposed then, right?
Exactly. He did the same thing then.
But Kasim Uma was done at that time. He was just trying to get paychecks at that time when he fought Golovkin, which, really made Golovkin look bad back then. I mean, same thing with a lot of fighters. See, the whole thing is that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And what that basically means is, you done had about 100 to 300 amateur fights. And when you turn pro, if you're still making them same mistakes, you're always going to make those mistakes. Golovkin is always going to be a fighter who is not comfortable with exchanging with someone. But the difference from when you brought up Winky Wright, the difference is Winky Wright is known to be a boxer. So it makes more sense that, he's going to have a great defense. He's going to make sure he doesn't get hit and then try to come back and jump on you. But Golovkin is known as big drama, Mexican style, bring it on type, right? So you don't expect him to jump back with his hands up like, I'm not killer, I'm boxer.
Yeah, but that's the hype. I mean, you can't blame a person for having enough common sense to be like, hey, well, I'm not going to. Yeah, he's not Marvin Hagler. Him and Hitman Hearns was in there. He was like, I'm going for it. He just doesn't really do that. Yeah, if he respected Jacobs' power far more than he expected when he fought the welterweight. Like, he was in there, he was just letting him just do whatever. Like, he was like, whatever, I don't care. He respected Jacobs' power because he had enough power to put him on his ass. So he wasn't like, okay, we just gonna toss up. I understand where that comes from, but I mean, I do feel like sometimes you go a little hard and heavy on Triple G. Because look at Canelo. Canelo handpicks all his opponents. I mean, he completely avoid the Charlo brothers. He had no interest in that. And Oscar De La Hoya completely.
I've criticized Canelo too, though. But exactly, tell me exactly.
But you're a little more heavy on Triple G than it is when it comes down to Canelo.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think I would criticize Golovkin more than Canelo? Just be honest. I ain't gonna take nothing you say personal. Why do you think that I would criticize him more? And on top of that, let me bring up this list real quick. Hold on for 1 second.
Hey, because fam. Everything. Hey, Shawty. But me and him have had this discussion quite a few times, man, on and off camera. Because hold
on real quick though.
I'm exactly like you. He does what he does well, and what he don't do good, he don't try to do it. You know what I mean? He just he get behind the jab, he throw hard shots, and he got good timing and can cut the ring off. That's all he did. That's all he does.
Bro, let me give you a list of people that have said almost identical the same things that I have said about Golovkin. Let me give you this list: Matt Karabov from Russia, Nassim Hamed, he's from the UK, Sergey Kovalev from Russia, Oscar De La Hoya, Robert Garcia, Adrian Broner, Julio Cesar Chavez, Paulie Ayala, Roy Jones, if I didn't already say his name, Jerry Cooney, who fought against Larry Holmes, Bernard Hopkins, the WBO president Mauricio Solomon, Teddy Atlas, Carl Froch, Anthony Joshua, Ruslan Provodnikov. Let me ask you something, bro. Why do you think me and all of these professional guys who does this for a living, they have no hidden agenda, why do you think they're saying the same things about Golovkin and no other fighter?
Because I don't really think the flaws that I'm not disagreeing with the flaws. I've never disagreed with the flaws.
So what are you disagreeing with?
But I agree with this. When we disagree is when you say, "Oh yeah, well he's getting ready to lose. Somebody's getting ready to beat him." At the end of the day, when Floyd Mayweather get in there, hold on. Agree with that.
You got to back up what you just said. When did I say that? When did I say Golovkin is going to? Who are you talking about when you said I said Golovkin is going to lose and this and that? When did I say that?
Oh no! I saw one of your other videos. You're like, he's getting exposed now. I mean, it's not looking so good. Like
no. That's not what you just said.
He's gonna have trouble.
Hold on, that's not what you. Hold on.
He's gonna have trouble.
Hold on, that's not what you just said. Hold on, bro. That's not what you just said. You made an allegation. You said exactly that I said he's gonna lose. Now you changing it. He got exposed.
Did you say? Because I don't want to misquote you. One of your previous videos, with the last two videos, you speaking of now that the competition is getting tougher, I was thinking as just you said that. Oh well, now he's getting in trouble. I'm like, in trouble for what?
Okay, so you backing up. You backing off of what you said earlier.
I don't want to put words in my mouth.
Yeah. So you taking that back when you said that I said that he's going to lose. You taking that back?
Okay, right? You didn't say he's going to lose. From what you're saying, you
said that it's the beginning of the end.
It's the beginning of the
end.
Is what
exactly.
I said.
All right. Word. I asked word for what you said. So in saying it's the beginning of the end, that doesn't imply that you feel like, one of these dudes, because you named out like 4 dudes that you feel like could beat him.
I don't think that they're going to beat him, fam.
Hold on. I believe that Jermell Charlo will beat Gennady Golovkin. What is wrong with saying that? I mean, if we were watching basketball, if we were betting on football, whatever, and I told you I believe this team is going to beat that team, what's wrong with saying I believe Jermall Charlo will beat Golovkin? What's wrong with saying that?
I don't think there's anything wrong with saying you was going to beat him.
So what are you talking about?
Because I feel like this. I feel like when it comes down to credit, I think it becomes so racial. It's almost like everybody defends the white fighter, and then it becomes everybody over here defends the black fighter. Like, you didn't say this tonight. You done had like half people get on and say, well, he really didn't even knock him down. It really wasn't a knockdown. He knocked him down. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, I think
you didn't say that, but what are you watching? Did you see him knock him down? He wasn't even to get pushed.
But let's just get back to me and what I'm saying, though. Let's not worry about what other people are saying. This is what I'm saying. When it comes to Gennady Golovkin, you say it's a lot of this is based on race, and you're right. A lot of hold on. A lot of it is based on race. But tell me this: who are you comparing Golovkin to? Like, for example, if you're trying to suggest that black people, I know you black and I'm black, but if you're trying to suggest that black people, they would give him more credit, if he were black, what black fighter are you comparing him to?
It's not so much that. I get where you're coming from that, but I don't think it's that. I just think it's this. Because HBO pushes Golovkin so much, and they are biased. Don't get me wrong.
It makes it easy to hate him.
Because I really do hate that they love that rock'em sock'em robot thing that they love to do, and they love to.
They don't love that. They just love who's doing it. Now, because when Lomachenko, not doing that, they love him too. They love Lomachenko.
They do that. I think because HBO does that so much, they give him more of a hard time. Because at the end of the day, he wins. So I'm like, you put him in there, he wins, and he doesn't handpick opponents. I'm like, I don't like the fact like they act like him and Canelo are similar. I'm like, Canelo's straight hand-picking opponents. I used to like Manny Pacquiao. I don't even like him no more because he's like, I'm like, dude, all these welterweights, you just want to avoid all them and give us some garbage kind of fight.
We get, and I'm not trying to cut you off, but we getting away from you talking about something different. So basically you agree.
Hold on one second.
Everything that I said to you pretty much agree with then, right?
I don't disagree with the aspect of the flaws he has. We completely agree with that. I just think more credit should be given for wins and losses for who you get in the ring with. I don't believe Canelo's going to beat. I really believe Dana White is going to sit there and wait
till Canelo,
I'll let you go,
till Canelo
I'll let
gets
you go.
old, till Triple G gets old in the ring, and then he'll just throw him out there. You know what I'm saying? Because look the age he is. He can get old within a year or two. So let's just wait till he gets old, and then we'll just throw it out there.
Yeah, I agree.
Because who knows?
What do you think of Triple G's resume so far? Like, do you think he has a really top tier resume compared to all the other pound for pound fighters that are on the list?
He fought who was in his weight division. Like what else you gonna fight?
Andre
I mean,
Ward?
I'm not one of the ones who believe in he needs to jump up and fight Andre Ward to prove. So I'm not, because it doesn't make financial sense. I'm gonna be straight honest. From a financial standpoint, that makes no sense.
Okay, well,
why would you jump up and fight Andre Ward?
Hold on.
I believe he'll lose anyway.
Thank you.
When you can make more money fighting Canelo.
Now listen to what you just said. Listen to what you just said, though.
Why would you fight Willie Monroe when you can make more money fighting Erizandi Lara, who has a bigger name?
Oh yeah, I agree with that too. I don't believe nobody at 160 is going to beat Triple G. The only person when people keep from a financial standpoint, it doesn't make sense getting in the ring with Andre Ward. Andre Ward doesn't bring the money at all. He's a good fighter, but he's never been a pay-per-view fighter. Period.
That's not true, because Andre Ward just made more money than Sergey Kovalev. Andre Ward, he gets the same views that Golovkin gets when he fights on HBO. And if Golovkin would fight Andre Ward right now, there is no doubt about it, Golovkin would get the biggest payday he's ever gotten. Now, but it's based on more than the Golovkin and him put together. Yeah, but what you just said a minute ago. Hold on.
Triple A, Canelo by himself can fight a bum and he'll be on pay-per-view and he'll do decent numbers.
Okay, so if that's
a Mexican to begin with.
No.
Andre Ward doesn't do that.
No. You just said that it doesn't make sense for him to fight Andre Ward. But the thing is, if he fights Andre Ward, he makes more money than he does fighting against a bum. He makes more money.
But he won't make the money that he'll fighting Canelo.
Okay, so what about after Canelo? Then what should he do?
Oh yeah, pretty much, because you're done, because you're not gonna. I don't believe right now at 160 if he beats Canelo, that's kind of like it really is peak, because I don't really believe any of the rest of them is really gonna bring any kind of paydays unless he fights.
So there's
Andre Ward again, because there's nobody else really there that's a real big payday.
Now, you started the conversation off saying you were a Golovkin fan, which I appreciate you acknowledge and admit it. But at the same time, though, you haven't really said anything. I mean, because you said, you thought I was too hard on Golovkin, but you haven't really disagreed with anything we asked you.
Of the things,
you
agreed with Kurt.
I disagree with the fact that people believe that, like, Danny Jacobs landslide. I'm like, the punch that number doesn't come back to that. If you look at their face and then you look at who fight the clear
some people
punches,
calling in saying they
it was
want
all those
8-4, 8-3,
I don't really get the
9-3.
landslide. I would go if you say it was a 1 or 2 round
But hold
fight.
on. But you were talking about me. When you called, you were talking about what I said. You start off saying
I think
me,
what he's saying
and then once
is,
I ask you a question about me, you start talking about other people. I never said the fight.
I put it like this: are you saying that you don't think that?
No.
You don't think that we give credit where credit is due?
The consensus that you see in the chat room, you hear what people say. Oh, you just know for a fact. He's been robbed.
So you ain't got a problem with what I said. Then you got a problem with what other people are saying in the chat room. Is what you're saying, right?
Well, yeah, a lot of the landslide. I'm like, where's this landslide? I don't even see an 8 rounds to 4. For you to say, for a person to believe that he won by a landslide, that means all those close rounds you gave to Danny Jacobs every single time.
It wasn't a landslide. And like I just said before, if you feel that Golovkin won by 1 point, I'm not going to sit over here and complain about that. If you believe that Jacobs won by 2 points, I'm not going to complain about that, because that's
the same thing.
Yeah,
but most of the people isn't. But have you noticed nobody's saying that? Everybody's saying like 8 rounds to 4, 10 rounds to 2. He won like 3 rounds.
8 rounds to 4.
What fight are you watching?
8 rounds to 4, because you got to remember though, a lot of the rounds were close though. So you could have gave all of the close rounds to Golovkin, or you could have gave all of the close rounds to Danny Jacobs, or you could have split them. When rounds are extremely close, that means the scorecards, they could be a little bit different. You know what I mean? So in this case right here, yeah, I mean Jacobs, he could have won the fight 8 rounds to 4. I didn't have it that wide. I think he won by 1 or 2 points. But I said in my post fight video that I didn't, and I said earlier tonight, I wouldn't call it a straight robbery. I thought it was a little too close, and that's what I said about the Ward and the Ward and Kovalev fight.
Exactly. That's why I was having problems with
I
him.
didn't
Like,
think it
what's
was a
the difference
robbery.
between Ward and Kovalev in this fight? It's the exact same thing.
No,
it's the difference between a round or two.
Well, hey, I'm gonna go and let you go, man, because the lines are filling up. But all I will say is I thought that Jacobs, he won this fight a lot more clearly than Ward, beat Sergey Kovalev. I thought that fight was closer. But thanks for your call, man.
Appreciate taking my call, man.
Hey, no problem, man.
314.
Oh,
334.
Oh man, I accidentally. God damn it. Hey, shit. I accidentally. I was trying to get to 562 because that's where I'm from. I accidentally just deleted 562. So if that's another one.
Oh, okay.
That's another one. Let me just go ahead real quick. I gotta show love to. Okay, so we got another 562. The other one I accidentally hung up on. What's going on, man? Where you calling from? What's your name?
I'm calling from Long Beach.
That's what I'm talking about. Finally, we got somebody down the street from me. What part of Long Beach?
I'm right off of. I'm right in Long Beach in the city. I'm right off of Terminal and PCH.
Terminal PCH. I used to work out over there by the traffic circle, right? Yeah. I used to. Huh?
I'm right off the traffic circle.
Yeah, I used to work out at that gym over there, right over there, that Bally's Total Fitness. But anyway, what's on your mind, man?
Yeah. First of all, I when it comes to boxing, I just think there's two different types of opinions that you can get when it comes to boxing. Like, some people need to have like a basketball sport where they can see the ball going into the hoop. Whereas though in boxing, if you don't really understand the scoring, you can't really score it. It's got to be up to the judges that night. But what I called about was I wanted to ask the panel, what do you feel makes a good solid boxer? Because I think, the race involved and different things are involved. Who do you guys feel? What makes a good boxer to you guys in your eyes? What would be the perfect boxer today that you could say is that guy is the number one? I hear a lot of people talking about Earl Spence, Lomachenko, there's different boxers. But who would you pick to be the true boxer today?
I mean, are you talking about like a pound for pound list, or are you just talking about what makes a complete fighter? Period. I mean, let me just.
Well, I can't go on the. I can't really look at the pound for pound list because that's where I would debate with you guys, because I think like some of the people are put there based on, like the social aspects, because I'm not truly a Triple G fan. But
let me just say, like let me say this. Let me kind of say this to kind of answer your question, or at least the beginning of answering your question, and I'll let you guys touch in on this too. But what makes a complete fighter is a fighter who can beat all different type of styles. He's comfortable against a boxer who moves around the ring. He's comfortable against an aggressive fighter who comes forward and just throws bombs. He shows adversity when he's dealing with a cut, when he's down on the scorecards. Someone who is fighting a guy who's stronger than him for the first time. He may be stronger, he may be taller, he may be quicker. And you can beat all of these different styles. That's what makes you a complete fighter. I tell people, it's the RDS when it comes to my pound for pound list, which is resume, skill, and domination. You can put it, however you want to put it, RSD or whatever. But bottom line is you gotta have R for resume, D for dominance, and you have to have S for skill, right? So with that all being said, that's what makes a complete fighter.
Okay, so today, in today's time, with the top fighters out there today, not particularly staying on the pound list, who would you say right now is the fighter that who would you pick today as your complete fighter? That I'm not saying this. I know I'm pretty just listening to the debate. I know it's not Triple G because I can hear. I watch the show a lot, and I can hear. Like I think you go to the point where though. Don't pump these guys up so much, because there's like you said, you guys just mentioned, like flaws in his game, different things like that, and I can see that too. But I can see, like, just watching some of these, you have to turn the TV down because it seems like they have their own favorites. But I also see like certain fighters, well, like the Lomachenko guy, But there's certain fighters out there that really hasn't proved anything. Like, oh yeah, he's slick, he's this, he's that. But when it comes to comparing them, it seems like they're more or less prize fighters. They're not really, they're not really. They don't really have that.
Okay, bro, I got to get you to wrap. I got to get you to kind of wrap it up and get to your point, bro. So we could kind of get to another call, man. No offense, but go ahead.
I think what he's asking is, who do you?
That was what I was trying to figure out.
Who do we think is the?
Who you guys pick as your
most
complete fighter? I mean, me personally, you go ahead. You go first, Mel, since you ain't said nothing for a minute.
It's tough. But, right now I'm just going to say Andre Ward. I think Andre Ward is the most complete fighter. Offensively, defensively, he switches back and forth from each.
He can fight on the inside. He can fight on the outside.
He has tremendous footwork. His countering ability is, oh, my God. I've seen him do that catch and counter where he catches the punch on the glove and immediately comes across with the counter. I mean, he boxes beautifully. And right now I say he is the most complete fighter, followed very closely by Lomachenko. So, take your pick on either one of those two.
Yeah, and I would say on the rise, I agree with what you just said, Milt. I would say, and when it comes to on the rise for the younger Lions, I would say Errol Spence, man. Yeah. I would say Errol Spence is the most complete fighter. Once again, someone who can fight on the inside, the outside, goes to the body very well. And, I think all the questions will be answered, if he beats Kell Brook. There's still a chance that Kell Brook can win that fight. Of course, I'm picking Errol Spence to win the fight, but because I feel like you kind of alluded to it when you were talking, when you were saying some people basically give fighters certain credit that hasn't really fought anyone, because we often hear people say this about Errol Spence. But once again, like I always say, if you really know boxing, and I'm not saying you're always going to be right, but every once in a while, you should be able to tell how far a fighter is going to go before he shows it. You should be able to pick the horse that's going to win the race every once in a while. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when I hear people say, oh, don't give Errol Spence that credit, he ain't fought nobody. No, I mean, anybody can say he's a great fighter after we've already seen it. But the question is, can you predict it before it happens? And I'm telling people that my money is on Errol Spence right now, as when it comes to fighters that will go the furthest when it comes to contenders and prospects and stuff like that. So that's pretty much how I see that. Kirk,
all right, thank you guys.
No problem, man. No problem. Take care.
Shout out to Malik Hawkins, welterweight coming up in the division.
Malik Hawkins. Wait, hold on. Malik Hawkins. I almost thought you was my boy Snapper for a minute. You know Snapper?
Yeah. I know Snapper and those guys. I'm out Long Beach, but I'm from Baltimore. I live in Baltimore.
Oh yeah.
You kind of sound like my boy Snapper, man. But that's what it is. Yeah. Malik Hawkins is a beast. Take care, man.
I saw him fight at the Pachanga, man.
Oh yeah, he a beast. He is
a beast.
He grew up with Javante Davis, man, and they used to go to war sparring, man. He's a beast. Matter of fact, most
definitely.
I'm gonna fly out.
Y'all need to be looking out for that kid, man.
He's about to fight against a tough opponent on Showbox. I forget the kid's name, but he's fighting against an undefeated Russian coming up soon, and it's supposed to be his biggest test. It's going to be real interesting.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so y'all look out for Malik Scott, man.
Malik Scott, yeah.
But anyway. Oh, this is 3-3. What about it? Hold on, guys. I'm talking to DJ Star. She's telling me about a caller who. What's up?
The one that was on the phone waiting.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying this is the guy who was on hold and he didn't get to call? All right, let me see. Are you sure?
Yes.
All right. We're gonna take another call. The producer is saying this guy called in and we didn't get to him. We got 334. What's going on, man? What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up? It's Pedro Justice from IMO Sports, calling from Roll Tide Country.
Oh, that's what's up. What's up, man. What's good with you?
What's good? The fight last night, I feel that Jacobs more or less gave rounds away more than Triple G just won the fight. Triple G was gassed.
I consider he did.
I agree.
His power kind of covers up the weaknesses that he does have. Like, I was looking, I did some keys to victory videos before the fight, and I was looking at it, he has to reset himself. So you have an opportunity to go in there and punch him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Jacobs was like I feel that Jacobs was kind of waiting on the power to feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And when he realized it wasn't as much as he thought it would be, it was kind of too late. So he came on too late.
Yeah. I agree. I mean,
you summed it up nicely.
I agree with you to a certain extent.
I'm serious, man.
That's what we kept talking about, and that's what you heard dude earlier. He was saying he disagreed.
Yeah.
I said I believe he took his foot off of the gas, and you're right. It was more of Danny Jacobs not doing enough as opposed to Golovkin just winning the fight. You know what I mean? It was more of that. It was so many opportunities where Danny Jacobs had Golovkin on the defense, and like I said, Golovkin does not transition from defense to offense, so you don't have to worry about getting countered with anything. You know what I mean? So
you don't.
That's go ahead.
When Jacobs ripped him to the body, Triple G did not like that.
No,
he did not like those body punches.
He did not like.
I wouldn't be surprised if he probably hurt Golovkin with one of them body shots, and of course, Golovkin did what an experienced fighter does is play it off. So I wouldn't be surprised. So are you saying did you give the fight to Golovkin, or how did you score it?
Yeah, I said the fourth round pretty much decided it, and with that, I saw where Jacobs was kind of transitioning from the southpaw, and he got his back against the rope.
Yeah,
and that's when he got caught with.
And that's when he got caught.
Yeah,
that's when he got caught slipping.
Yeah,
that's when he got caught.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the fight.
That was the fight.
And that was a stupid move, man. It was just to be on the ropes throwing punches at all is a stupid move. If you ain't Floyd or Roy Jones in your prime, that's something you don't want to do, because that's when Golovkin is most comfortable. Golovkin is most comfortable when you're moving away from him and when your back is on the ropes. But just like Oscar De La Hoya said, Oscar said it 2 years ago, and he nailed it. He said Golovkin cannot fight going backwards, and that's what we seen.
Right.
That's what we seen this Saturday, man. That's what we seen.
But
I feel it should be a rematch. I feel it should be a rematch. GG didn't seem like he wanted it. He's talking about Billy Joe Saunders and all this other stuff and unifying in the country, and I wasn't with that part of it. I can't agree with that.
No, it ain't gonna be no rematch. This is gonna be another Oscar De La Hoya, Ike Corte type situation. You know what I mean?
Oh my! Don't get me on that.
Yeah.
Don't get me on that. Oh.
Hey, but check this out. Like you said, that I will say the knockdown was huge, but them giving they gave him round 8 also. They gave Triple G round 8. Because that was that round where Jacobs took off at the end of the round, and he took those 2 uppercuts, and he took that jab that rocked his head back also towards the end of the round. So Jacobs kind of gave that round away at the end of the round, and they handed it to and I think that was a huge turning point in the fight in the fight as well, and I think that's what pushed it over the top for Triple G.
Yeah,
I watched it. I've watched it 3 times today just to try to figure out what they were looking at, and I think that is the part that pushed it over the top for Triple G.
Yeah.
I think Danny is kicking himself. I think Danny's kicking himself.
Yeah,
he left money on the table.
He left money on the table, man. That's pretty much what it is, man. Hey, brother. Well, once again, man, I'm gonna let you go, man. Thanks for your time, man. Let everybody know about let everybody know about your channel again, man.
IMO Sports, up and coming, boxing, basketball, football, whatever sports, freestyle off the top of the head. Come check me out. I appreciate it.
This who winning SEC this year, though. I just want you to understand that, folks. Georgia SEC champion.
All right.
Hey, roll tide.
Take care, family. Take care, man. All right, man.
All right.
Good stuff from my man right there. So we winding down, man. We still got a whole lot of people on hold.
A whole lot.
And we trying to get in a couple people before we end the show. Right here
from that fight, the website that he was wanting us to check out. Remember?
That's the guy.
Yeah, that's my man. From Milwaukee.
You saying that's the guy who told us about the other channel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's him.
Okay, that's what it is, man. How did you know that?
I made sure I was going to try to keep him in mind for the next time.
Okay. Should we go to that one right now?
Yeah, we'll hit him up. He always got some good content for us.
That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got my man 904, man. What's going on, brother?
Oh, what's up, bro? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. What's on your mind? And no, man, I you know what? When you called, just for the record, when you called, as you asked me about it, I did look up dude's channel. Shout outs to Lee Wiley. You know, y'all go ahead and check his channel out. But I still haven't actually watched any videos yet, you know, but I'm going to check him out. But what's on your mind, fam?
Oh, yeah. Oh, first thing I want to ask you is, like, what people been saying about the fight? Like, what you been hearing?
Oh, man. I mean, you know, it's interesting because when I first watched the fight, I didn't really know. I expected everyone to be like, you know, Golovkin clearly won and just try to act like it wasn't a robbery at all. That's what I expected how I expected people to react. But to my surprise, I had so many people that were saying it was a robbery, and I was actually surprised because it was some major decafs, some of them straight white supremacists that was actually saying they thought that actually thought that Danny Jacobs won the fight. You know, it's one guy, I'm not going to say his name, but this dude, you know, he probably burning the cross right now somewhere, but he said that Danny Jacobs won the fight. And I was like, damn, he said it?
Yeah.
I mean, because this dude got other white people calling him racist. That's how racist he is. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And he said he thought Danny Jacobs won the fight. So I was blown away. And I got to correct, shout out to my man Hoop Jab, Neil from Hoop Jab. He told me that Skip Bayless even picked Danny Jacobs. But I got to kind of correct that, though, because I went to his Twitter and I read what Skip Bayless said. He actually had Golovkin winning the fight. But Skip Bayless responded to what Golovkin said when Abel Sanchez and them said, oh, you know, we wanted to just go 12 rounds and test ourselves and all that kind of stuff. Skip Bayless said he don't believe that. He says, I'm with Danny Jacobs, you know, on that one. You know, Danny Jacobs, you know, he just gave Danny Jacobs a whole lot of props. So, you know, that's the type of feedback that I've been basically getting, though, man. What about you, man? What do you think happened? Who won that fight?
In my opinion, I think Golovkin won it. And to be honest, when I was watching the fight, I really didn't think it was all that close. I thought it was one of those matches where you watch him, you looking at the punches and stuff, but of course, it felt like Danny Jacobs, a lot of his shots, they were blocked. They were like half punches and stuff like that. Because, you know, like, I think there was one combo, and Roy Jones mentioned it. You know how basically Danny Jacobs kept switching stances, so I think he threw like a jab, left hook, then landed the right hand. I was like, it was working, but it wasn't landing like so much effect that people say it would. I think when they revealed the CompuBox number, I think he said he landed 231 punches for Golovkin and 151 for Danny Jacobs.
Yeah, well, we talked about the punch stats earlier, and like I said, you know, when you're judging the fight, you don't see the punch stats. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's why it's a good thing that we don't see that kind of stuff, because you have to basically just go off of, you know, who looks like they're basically dominating the fight, who's controlling the ring, who looks like they have more confidence in the fight. You know,
in my opinion, I think that was Golovkin who was controlling the fight. It's just that of course, he probably should have just did like a tad bit more. Of course, he wasn't body snatching like he did in his earlier matches. You know, because he probably came to the ring and bit onto the hype tomorrow. Danny Jacobs has a weak chin.
I want to ask
Danny Jacobs actually.
Real quick, because we don't have a lot of time, but I wanted to ask you the same question I asked my man earlier. If you were training Gennady Golovkin after that fight, what would you say to Gennady Golovkin after that fight if you were his trainer?
I would say you did a good job. I probably would have just said we just need to go back and look at that things we missed, because he got the win.
Wait. You said, but the last part, you said he did a good job, but then you said we would need to work on this. Work on what?
Of course, I'll always tell him this after a fight. Like, if I was a trainer, I'll always tell him we need to work on this and that after a fight, because I'll go over footage. But in my opinion, if I'm watching a fight, as I was watching a fight, I felt like he was doing just enough to win. Of course, he probably abandoned some type of moves like going to the body, like I said, or he just waited on Danny Jacobs to go first so he can counter, something like that. But I didn't feel like he did anything wrong. Like, there's a point where sometimes I might be excited for the fighter. Of course, if I'm a trainer, I'm going to be excited to train a puncher each and every day. But I'm not going to be one of them trainers that just beg him to knock somebody out. That's just foolish.
Yeah. Well, let me add. Okay, so once again, and I want to say this, man, because my son, obviously, you know, he boxes, and I'm telling you right now, if my son performed like that, I would be yelling in his damn ear so much he probably would be deaf for a good 3 days. Because see, I'm about
You talking about not being aggressive?
No, it's not just about not being aggressive. It's about backing up and letting someone dictate the pace, allowing them to kind of control the pace and not taking advantage, of a guy who's not really being that aggressive. Not so much you got to get I'm not saying you got to get the knockout, you got to do this, but the point that I'm making and the reason why I asked you that question is because I wanted to see if you would have said, man, I would have told him, yeah, man, you gotta take advantage of these laws in action. You got to do all that kind of stuff, and he didn't do that. And when I would never say that he did a great job unless this was a fighter who was easily discouraged and deterred. Then I would have to kind of watch what I say. But I wouldn't say that Golovkin did a great job. That wasn't a great performance. You know what I mean? That wasn't.
It's not so much of a. It's not so much of a being aggressive. Like if you look at the Bernard Hopkins and the Sergey Kovalev, it's like he was not throwing like a great deal of punches. All he was doing is just wait.
But those are boxers, though. But those are boxers. Golovkin is Mexican style, big drama. So
he's a boxer just like everybody else.
So why did he call himself big drama Mexican style?
Because that appeals to the Mexican fans, and he's going to get money off that.
So he never meant that when he said that. That was just to appeal to a certain demographic, is what you're saying. He never meant that when he said that.
Not saying he never meant it. It might be 50%, 75%. I don't know Golovkin personally, but if you look at Kafka Zoo, of course, if you meet like a lot of European fighters and they do all this pressure fighting, cutting off the ring, it's not a style of I'm going to fight Mexican style. It's just a fight that they grew up fighting. Sometimes they're going to fight a Cuban who's just extremely fleet-footed. So they're gym warriors. They're going to sit in the gym and be like, hey, cut off the ring, and they're like, I don't know how. So you know what? I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you to do this and do that, and then they probably cut off the ring as soon as they get into pros because that's what they've been doing. Like Riddick Bowe, he never fought like a pressure fighter until he got the pros. People just flat out run away from him.
But once again, you're talking about people that didn't promote it. Riddick Bowe, Bernard Hopkins, Sergey Kovalev, none of these guys really promoted Mexican style. See, this is the thing. It's okay if you want to appeal to a certain demographic, you want to cater to the Mexican, fans and all that. That's okay. But at the same time, once you switch up and now you have to, be a lot more, safety first in the ring, then that's going to make you look a little bit like a hypocrite. But besides all of that,
here's the thing. I think people got to realize, like, thing is, we are all boxers. Like, I feel like you can't just keep giving these fighters leeways because they're not aggressive. Like, the thing is, a lot of these aggressive boxers, they're really not getting any like.
It's not about being aggressive. It's not about.
I feel like,
go ahead.
I feel like a lot of these mental boxers are not getting any credit for like their skills because they feel like if you can come forward and take these shots, then what's another fighter like this going to do? The thing is, when you're trying to promote, of course, you're going to do all the type of stuff. When you hear like Mike Tyson in his interviews talking about how he can beat this or something, my defense is impregnable, stuff like that. The thing is, you got to realize, I'm in here to box, but the thing is, I'm trying to do it in the best way I can without taking a great deal of punishment. So, of course, there might be times where I'm going to do like this. I'm going to appeal to this thing, but in some way, I'm not going to get the knockout each and every time like Roman Gonzalez when he's moving up in weight.
It's not about.
So go ahead. Say what you about to say.
No, yeah. It's once again, it's not so much about getting the knockout because obviously, if you watch boxing, we all know when you step up in competition, the knockouts
will stop eventually.
The knockouts, they basically evaporate or dissipate. But the point that I'm making is, once again, what Golovkin is not doing, not about him just being aggressive and running over people, but the fact that he is not comfortable. Once again, he's not comfortable when fighters jump on him. When fighters jump on him, they start backing him up. He's not comfortable. And if I was a boxing trainer, I would be really, really concerned about that because this was not the best competition he was going in there against. If you're not comfortable when Kell Brook is attacking you, who's a welterweight, if you weren't extremely comfortable when Willie Monroe, a guy with only 6 knockouts, was attacking you, and now Danny Jacobs, who has the natural athleticism and he has the power and size to go with it, you're not comfortable with him, it's only going to get worse from this point on because the competition is going to get even stiffer than that. Because when he goes in there with Jamal Charlo, he goes in there with maybe he moves up to 168 and he starts fighting Gilberto Ramirez and and the James DeGales and all these type of guys.
Let me say this though.
I think it's going to be very.
Let me say this. One of the things I want people to understand is Danny Jacobs is a supreme middleweight. This guy is one of the best middleweights in the world right now. He is. And we talking about cats that are going to move up and probably get there someday. But I do not think one of the Charlos, I don't think Jamal is ready right now. He may be in a year.
It's good to see him at least. I do want to see Jamal at least in one middleweight fight, just to see.
Yeah,
how he
I would
deals
like to
with
see
the
him
side.
maybe 2 fights. But this is one thing I want to say, and watching the fight.
I let dude go. By the way.
Okay, my bad. One of the things we kind of doing, and I said it a little bit earlier, but I just been sitting here thinking about it. We may not be giving, and I may not be giving Triple G as much credit as he deserved, because the thing is, he was the smaller guy, but he dropped the bigger man. Dropped the bigger man, and it was a clear knockdown. And I don't know who all talking about that wasn't no knockdown. That was a knockdown.
But dropping someone alone,
and then on top of that, he realized what kind of a fight this was going to turn into. So he couldn't rely on the power, and he had to try to think his way through the fight.
But this is my thing, though.
Mm-hmm. And I know you talk about the big drama show and all that stuff.
No. But on top of that,
that's just for promotion.
Going into this fight, the consensus was Danny Jacobs had a glass jaw.
True.
He would get annihilated.
True.
So for us to now say, oh well, we got to give him credit for knocking down the guy with a glass jaw.
No,
you can't really give him that.
I
much
didn't say
credit.
that the man had no glass jaw.
No, I know.
I never said that.
But I'm saying this is what everybody thought going into the fight.
That's what they thought. But what I'm saying is, hey man,
even me, I question how would this guy do, because he's been knocked out before. He's going up against a guy who has 23 knockouts in a row. How is he going to do? I'm just saying you can't really give someone credit for doing things you already expect him to do. You give them credit for dealing with tremendous adversity. You know what I mean? Where, let's say, for example, he gets in there with a pound-for-pound fighter and he knocks him down. That's why I give Sergey Kovalev so much credit. I give him credit because that knockdown, now that's what you really give a person credit for. He knocked down Andre Ward. Nobody expected that. You feel what I'm saying?
I feel what you're saying.
But for Golovkin to knock down Danny Jacobs, he was expected to knock out Danny Jacobs,
But
so,
I still got to give him credit.
And Danny was an 8-1.
Danny came in.
And Danny opened up as an 8-1 underdog. You know what I mean? So if Golovkin would have went in there and just knocked him out in the first round, then I would have been like, whoa, that's a statement. That's a statement, But you knock down a guy, and then you let the guy get up and get back into the fight. And then you fight more. You more reluctant after you knock him down. I wouldn't give him credit just for that, but I do give him credit for still once again being the best middleweight in the world right now. But once again, there's levels to this, and if he steps up in competition, he's going to have a hard time. We do give him enough credit, though, Milt.
No, I don't think we give him enough. I'm just saying in this particular fight, I don't think that he is getting. The man won the fight.
Yeah, And when I did my video, the first thing I said was, "You go back and watch my post-fight video." The first thing I said was, "First things first, congratulations to Gennady Golovkin.
True.
A win is a win. So
a win is a win.
So we didn't give him the credit. But you cannot give him the same credit you're going to give a Kovalev, a Ward, a Lomachenko.
And it wasn't a dominant performance by any stretch of the imagination. That was not a dominant performance by Triple G.
Hey, HBO and ESPN give this man enough credit as is.
Thank you.
But see, that's ESPN, the thing, Kurt. I think a lot of people hate this dude because they hype him up so much. That is true.
It's sad. I think what that man from Alabama was alluding to earlier.
Yeah,
he was trying to. I don't know if he got a chance to really express it, but I think he was trying to say that there was a lot of resentment within the black community.
Yes,
because they hype Golovkin up so much,
Well, the
and they
resentment-
don't hype up the black fighters enough.
Well, Kurt,
And then,
they don't give our black
what
fighters the
pisses
proper
me off
credit.
them so bad with HBO is they had Floyd Mayweather, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were so contentious with him, man, in post-fight interviews, the way that they promoted him, the way that they just was like, hey, man, this man was the biggest draw in boxing. How do you let that go?
And they was damn near
How do
telling,
you let that go?
Jim Lampley was damn near telling people, look, we selling the best product out, but don't buy this shit though. Because
Yeah.
really it ain't I can't stand this product. So between me and you, don't even buy the product. That's what Jim Lampley was doing. How do you, like you said, how do you have the biggest draw in boxing and Jim Lampley's first TV show, the whatever it's called, the Fight Game, the first episode he ever did, he made sure to bash the shit out of Floyd Mayweather,
and it didn't stop on the first show.
Exactly. You would think
continued on.
You would think even HBO. You would think even HBO would be like, "Hey, Jim. I mean, this guy is our biggest draw." You know, because they always say, "Oh, come on, Dontae. This is about money. That's why they treat Golovkin so well because he's the moneymaker." That's not true because Golovkin, Floyd was the real moneymaker. And they treated him like straight crap.
They did, man.
I mean, if you were just tuning in and you heard the way Jim was talking about Floyd, you would be like, "Oh, I don't want to watch this guy."
Right.
And that's why Jim did it. That's why he did it. It was designed to make people feel that way.
And then when
You
he
know?
left, man, it was like, oh my God, man.
Yeah.
You would think this dude like molested their kids or something. They talked
absolutely.
about the brother so bad, man. I'm like, come on, man.
And once again, see that's what hate is about. You notice the things that we say about Golovkin, it all pertains to boxing, though.
Right.
We never say, "Oh man, I'll never want to watch this man fight again." Oh look, all he did was just block and pull back. Man, he wasted my money. We don't be getting personal like that.
No.
He's boring. He's gay. He's this and that. Oh, now we don't talk about that kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff professionals like Dan Rafael was saying about Floyd Mayweather, saying about Guillermo Rigo, saying about Andre Ward. And Kirk, you hit the nail right on the head when you said if ESPN and HBO and all of the mainstream media, if they're giving him the credit, they're giving him more credit than he deserves, then I think the majority of boxers would rather be in that position than having us little small timers, basically spit the truth and criticize, things that he's doing wrong in the ring. You want the main guys like ESPN, the big guys like that. You want them to be giving you that credit. I mean, this man Golovkin came from another country. He gets an Apple commercial before any American black fighters get an Apple commercial. He's already considered pound for pound one of the greatest fighters in the top 25. So things are not really that bad for Gennady Golovkin. Outside of all those names that I mentioned earlier, who are basically saying, because the reality of it all, guys, we have to realize this. Golovkin is 35 years old, and the best opponent he ever faced before this was a welterweight. He struggled against that welterweight. Then he stepped up in competition, fought a middleweight. He struggled against this middleweight. These are all facts. So once again, when people try to say, we're not giving him enough credit, they're trying to, and I'm not saying you, Milt, but I'm because obviously we've criticized Golovkin. But what I'm trying to say is when y'all
I praised him too. I praise on occasion when he deserved it. I give him praise too.
Yeah, you definitely praised him.
Yeah.
But my point is when fans try to say we're not giving him the credit he deserves, who are you comparing him to? Because you can't compare him to an Andre Ward, a Kovalev, a Lomachenko, a Guillermo Rigondeaux. You can't compare him to those fighters. So who are you guys comparing him to? And that's what it really comes down to.
And that's true.
Yeah, let's try to take another call before we wrap it up.
Yeah.
Once again, man, we still got a whole lot of people on hold, man.
Yeah, I know.
So let's go with 931, man. What's your name? Where you calling from, man?
My name is Ernest. I'm calling from South Tennessee, about 40 miles north of Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay. That's what's up, man.
Yeah. I thought the fight, I scored the fight 6 rounds apiece, but I gave it to Triple G because of the knockdown, so I had him winning by 1 point.
Okay.
I think that Jacob. Listen, and hear me out. You are not going to win a fight as a challenger if you got a knockdown going against you against a standing champion, and the fight is close. You're just not going to get that decision. You're just not. I've never seen a challenger get a decision where a knockdown is going against him.
Technically, they were both champions, but I
close.
understand where you're coming from. Technically, they were both champions, but Jacobs, just to clear it up, Jacobs was the regular. Jacobs was.
I ain't got a lot of time. I ain't got a lot of time, so let me get this in.
I don't got a lot of time either, man.
All right.
Go ahead.
The WBA regular champion is not on the same level as the super champion. Okay, it's not like
I went ahead and let him go, man, because he said he ain't got a lot of time, and I really ain't got a lot of time. So I'm gonna go to somebody else who got more time than him. We got hold on for a second. Hold on.
312.
Why? What's up with that one?
Okay.
Yeah, but here, let me see. We gonna go with 216, man. 216. What's going on, man? Because they in order right now.
I got you.
So what's your name? Where you calling from? 216.
Hey, what's up, brother? My name is Joshua. I'm calling from California, but I'm from Cleveland.
Okay. What's going on, man? What's on your mind, man?
Oh, nothing. I'm a real big fan of yours, man. I watch your stuff all the time. You know, I'm in the military. I watch you. Like when I'm deployed, I listen to you. So all the time, brother.
I appreciate it, man.
All
I
right.
appreciate it. That's why we do it right there, man.
You're not deployed now, are you?
No, I'm getting ready to go though. I'm going to be leaving in a few months.
Where are you leaving to?
I can't say.
Oh, my bad.
He said can't.
No,
you said you can't
say.
say. Oh, confidential. All good. That's what's up. So what's on your mind, man?
Hey, man. Real quick, I'm sorry. I'm wasting gentleman's time. Earl Spence. I know we're talking about Triple G. I want to talk about Triple G and Jacobs too, but I can't wait to see Earl Spence versus Brooke. He's like my favorite fighter right now. He's gonna destroy Brooke. I don't care what nobody says.
Yeah,
But,
it's a good fight, man.
That Triple G versus Jacobs fight though, man, that was a close fight. I thought Jacobs fought the best fight he could ever fight, but I still kind of gave it to Triple G.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
It was close though. It was close.
Yeah, it was a close fight. I mean, once again, regardless of how we scored the fight, I just truly believe that this was the beginning of the end. Like my man who didn't like me saying that earlier, to me, this was an indication that Golovkin is going to have a lot of problems as he steps up in competition. I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you see him beating the Canelos, the Jamal Charlos, and beating guys at 168, or what do you think?
I mean, I think Canelo, they'll beat Canelo just because Canelo's afraid. Like you talked about fear before, he got that bad fear, So I think he'll lose to Triple G. But I think Charlo will be a good fight. I think if Charlo gets his feet wet, maybe with like a David Lemieux, I think he'll probably give Triple G a run for his money.
That would.
But I think I was listening to your radio, brother, when that one gentleman from Alabama was saying, I'm black, man. And like, dog, he's right, man. You tell black people like Triple G, they shun you like the devil. Like, them motherfuckers don't like you, man. Triple G is tight, man. Fuck you, dog. Like, they don't fuck with you.
I haven't seen that because I'll tell you one thing. When you
it's
look
almost like being a Trump supporter.
Oh man! Oh wow, that's deep. But this is one thing I will say, and I got a couple things to say about this. You know what's funny is no matter if I agree with a black person, saying defending Golovkin or not, the bottom line is it just shows how impartial a lot of black fans are, that we have so many black people calling in and saying I thought Golovkin won the fight, because when Sergey Kovalev fought Andre Ward, there was not that many non-black people that were saying, "Hey guys, I thought Andre Ward won the fight." You know what I mean? You couldn't.
Andre Ward won them.
Yeah. What's that? What's
I
that?
thought Andre Ward dominated, bro.
Yeah, but my point is, when it's the other way around, it's not too many people, that aren't black that were saying, that Ward won that fight. As a matter of fact, the same people who said Sergey Kovalev won and that was a robbery are now saying Golovkin won. Look at the punch stats. You know what I mean? So that's my point, you know. But something else I want to say about, you said, you know, the black guys, they get hate. I don't know if I really necessarily agree with that all the way, because you could go to my comment section, and I'm going to take a snapshot of it. But this one black dude in the comment section, he said, hey, man, y'all tripping. I had Golovkin winning that fight, and that comment had 90 likes. That comment had 90. That comment had more likes than any comment, you know, out there. And that's because when you really think about it, you know, we've already seen it. You know, you have a lot of black fans who said Andre Golovkin won the fight, and we don't have no problem with that. You know what I mean? Because once again, it was a close fight. So they have other black people that agree with them, and then they have a lot of, you know, people who aren't black who really love the fact that a black guy said it. You know what I mean? So you know, I don't necessarily agree with, you know, people getting, you know, mad, because we had a lot of black people today that called in and said they thought Golovkin won the fight. You know, I mean, but the bottom line once again is, you know, I think the racist comments, you know, of people constantly saying, you black bastards, this and that, you just hate Golovkin, you're just racist and this and that and this and that. You don't often see too much like straight hate by black fans in the comment section saying personal stuff about Golovkin in the comment section. You only see this the other way around, you know, when it comes to fighters on a coincidental list. So, you know, I wouldn't try to make it seem like, you know, black fighters, they just personally hate Golovkin so much, you know, and it's all personal. You know, you know, the sport is based on race, but it's largely because you have a lot of fans that, you know, they are basing this on race to defend a fighter like Gennady Golovkin, you know, and that's really what it comes down to. That's why when Curtis Stevens got knocked out by Lemieux, like I told you, half the comments was racist comments about black people. It was a celebration that a black fighter lost. And what's so funny is we all know that if Curtis would have knocked out Lemieux, fans would have said, oh, Golovkin had already destroyed Lemieux, so Lemieux was never the same. That's what they would have said. There wouldn't have been no Black Lives Splatter comments and all kind of crazy stuff like that. So, but anyway, man, hey, well, thank you for your call, bro. We're going to go ahead and get to the next one. All right, man? All right.
All right, brother.
All right. Take care, man. We got a international call, man. I think we're going to make this one. This might be the last one right here. It might be, but let's see. Okay, we got an international call. It's starting with 61. What's up, man? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, Dontae. It's John again. How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, John? How you doing, brother?
Up,
Australia. Was it Australia?
Yeah, that's right. You got it.
Okay, man. What's good with you, man? What's on your mind this time?
No. I mean, I've only just as we speak tuned into the station, so I'm not really privy. Haven't been privy to what you guys have been discussing, but obviously I wanted to talk to you a bit about the Golovkin fight, and my take, my idea on why I think he fought the way he did. So yeah.
Go ahead, man. Let it loose, man. Let it loose. I mean,
all right. Well, I mean, I know a lot of people are criticising him for the way he fought and his style, and it was entirely different to his previous fights. But I think there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is because Danny Jacobs is just such an exceptional athlete. I mean, I think Danny had the speed, the power. A lot of people haven't spoken about his footwork. I mean, I'm sure you saw the fight like myself, and his footwork was just exceptional. I mean, it almost looked like he was on a hoverboard, floating above the canvas.
Smooth.
So, I think. Sorry, go on. You go.
No. I was just, not to cut you off, but I was just about to say that there's no doubt about it. Danny Jacobs, he did a good job controlling distance, you know, the range. I think Golovkin was worried about the height, the reach, you know, the natural athleticism. But the only thing I would disagree with you is, once again, we've seen a pattern of Golovkin freezing up when natural athletic fighters attack him, going all the way back to the Willie Monroe fight, the Kell Brook fight, and now the Danny Jacobs fight. So, you know, I feel, and I've been saying it all night for 2 hours now, but I feel the only, you know, Golovkin is a very good fighter, no doubt about it. He's a very strong puncher. The flaw that he has is he cannot transition from defense to offense. That right there is his biggest flaw, and I think that's going to cost him when he steps up in competition against better fighters. So that's how I see it. But go ahead, man.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, just in relation to that, I think he went in himself, and obviously being instructed by Abel, I think he went in with a with a very stringent game plan in place that was given to him by Abel, and that was to try and keep some sort of distance from obviously Jacobs. So I mean, if you notice, when there was times when they were exchanging in the middle of the ring, and Jacobs would start to do that chopping motion that he does with his left and right hand, and Gennady was stunned a couple of times and came out looking as though he just jumped out of a washing machine. So if he'd done that same thing, and I have no doubt they discussed this heavily before the fight, if he'd done that same thing and tried to close distance and get in really close so he could land body shots to Jacobs would have done that wood chopping thing with both hands.
Yeah.
And he probably more than likely would have buzzed Gennady and then jumped on him. So I just think Abel and Gennady are both. I think Abel is an exceptional trainer. I think Gennady is an exceptional boxing mind, and I think they had a stringent game plan leading into the fight. And I think they've got everyone fooled. I think they talk about how they don't really watch video of their fighters and how they don't really discuss them much, and they go in with a fairly simple game plan to be offensive. But I think this was very different. I think they knew the threat, and they went in with, as I mentioned, a very, very strict, stringent game plan. So
yeah,
and I agree with you. I agree, and that's exactly what it looked like. And what I gather from what you basically said is Golovkin, he basically found a way to not get knocked out. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
he was nobody, obviously, that's part of the game. You don't want to get knocked out. You don't want to lose. Once again, I just truly believe that this is what I believe, when he steps up in competition, it's going to be very difficult for him. I believe it's, like I said, I thought Jacobs won the fight. We had a lot of people say they thought Jacobs won a fight. They called in. We had a lot of people who said they thought Golovkin won the fight. I have no problem with either one of them, because at the end of the day, like I said, Danny Jacobs, he did take his foot off the gas, and he allowed a lot of the rounds to be closer than they had to be, And so to me, both of these guys were respecting each other a little too much. I just feel like, Jacobs, he finished stronger. Golovkin, he started stronger. You can interpret that however you want. But, yeah, man. Well,
I just hope.
Go ahead.
I just hope Canelo never fights Jacobs, because I think Jacobs would absolutely kill Canelo. So.
And that's interesting, man, because that's a good fight, man. You know what? It is going to be interesting to see what Canelo is going to do, because when he was at 154, he fought none of the top junior middleweights. So is he going to go to middleweight and do the same thing, not fight any of the top middleweights? Because, like you said, now you got Charlo there, you got Danny Jacobs there. He already said he's not fighting Willie Monroe, who's not a top fighter, but he's in the mix. He had a good win over Gabe Rosado, so he is one of the top 10 fighters right now. And then you got Kurzitse, Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders may be the only one he may fight outside of Golovkin if he fights him. So
they're trying to make that fight for June.
Agreed.
Yeah, so right now it looks like Golovkin and Canelo, they may both be fighting for Canelo, he has to get past Chavez. So Golovkin may end up fighting Billy Joe in his next fight out there in Kazakhstan.
Well, I think they definitely will. I mean, Billy Joe Saunders has spoken in videos and said that the person he's going to fight next is the top guy. He's got almost all the belts, and the fight won't be in either England or the US. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious who it is.
Right.
Yeah.
And we know that Gennady wants his next fight in Kazakhstan. So I think they've been discussing that. It's just that Tom has been very hush-hush and hasn't wanted to give anything away. But I think that fight is pretty much sealed and done. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's in the bag.
Hey, man, well, thank you. Thank you for your time, bro.
That's right, buddy. Not a problem.
Take care, man.
Take care.
All right, man. So
Okay, you too. Catch you.
All
Bye,
right,
Dontae.
man. All right, bye, man. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up, guys. I mean, it was a long, real good show. Obviously, everyone is still buzzing about Golovkin versus Jacobs. That was what the whole night was dominated. That conversation dominated the whole show basically. So
I know.
I want to thank you guys always for tuning in. Your boy Dontae, co-host Milton in the building, man.
Hey.
Yeah, we'll be back next week.
We'll be back.
Guys, also let me know what you guys think about us doing the show on a Sunday. So go ahead and post your comments and just let us know what you think. All right, and thanks.
And next week is Jorge Linares, Anthony Crolla rematch.
Oh yeah, that's just another good fight. We should have talked about that.
Yeah, but we ran out of time. And then Amir Mansour and then Travis Kaufman war that went on. If y'all didn't see it, y'all go look it up, man. Travis Kaufman, Amir Mansour were in a war this past Friday night. So
congratulations.
Amir Mansour won in a 12-round war.
Congratulations to Amir Mansour for that great win. And once again, y'all know my boy Kirk Jackson, one of the DBN contributors on the panel. Like I said, man, we'll see you guys next week. Also go ahead and go to the website nationboxing.com. Oh yeah, and if you want me to advertise your products, man, if you want to get a couple more million people to look at your website or whatever, go ahead and shoot me an email at Dontae'sBoxingNation@gmail.com. And you can also go to my website nationboxing.com and you can pick up some of them shirts. All right. Now I think we got to go ahead and update the website when it comes to the shirts. But if you don't see the shirts on the website, go ahead and just shoot me an email at Dontae's Boxing Nation, and you guys can cop some of them shirts. It's a great